squishies! God, the mic is good now, and that's a problem. I didn't even raise it all the way, and it peaked into the red.
How's my mic? How's my mic doing?
Your mic actually sounds clearer than ever.
Does it really?
Yeah, no, I'm liking it.
I put dragons on my mic. I think my mic sounds good because I put dragons on it.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Hi there, folks. You know what? I'm gonna briefly say hi to you in the big face mode so that you can see my great set. Because I think this is the first Berserk stream with a new set. Welcome to my home. Hello. Take a look at the beauty. I don't have Berserk merch yet, I'm realizing.
The Luffy that you got that I didn't get?
Well, we already did that on stream.
No,
why is this the last stream, guys? Well, we'll talk
Berserkers.
about that in a second. It's not guaranteed to be the last stream. We'll see if it's the last stream. We'll see. We'll talk about that. Why would the Berserkers care about a Luffy? The One Piece people saw Luffy. They know him.
No, I just want them to see the coolness.
He's very beautiful. It's a very cool Luffy. I need to get compressed air so I can clean my figures. Because it turns out now that I own figures, they get dusty.
Yeah,
so that's a problem.
You know what I have? I have something called museum gel for securing
gel for securing things. What's that do?
I secured all the little guys, all the little cats and stuff on top of my freaking monitor, and they're all there. They just stay. They live there now.
Hey, who wants some ASMR?
Ooh, wait! I want to see what that is. What are you drinking? Turn around.
Coca-Cola, Coke Zero.
Is it just Coke Zero? Nah.
There's a Coke Zero. We're drinking Coke Zero. We're drinking water, and we're drinking the steep tea.
Hello, legit Hawaiian. Hey, legit Hawaiian. I'm having legit Hawaiian honey today.
It's not guaranteed to be the last. Let's talk about this. Let's cover the elephant in a room, right?
You just say cover the elephant in the room?
No, in a room. We cover it in a room.
This is literally the opposite of what you're supposed to do with the elephant.
I think the elephant's supposed to be in a room. We got to get him in there.
I think you mean let's
elephant's out of a room. We got to room this elephant. We got to house this elephant. This unhoused elephant.
Make a room in an elephant?
No. I mean, we got to build a room for the elephant. We got to get the elephant in a room.
Oh, build a room for the elephant. Fuck yeah, let's
around
do it.
Around the elephant.
Okay, let's do it.
Enclose the elephant in a room.
I'm in. Now, if you excuse me,
it's like a normal
Hawaiian honey.
It's a small elephant, though. It's like an Indian bush elephant. So it's not like one of the big. It's not an African savanna elephant. It's an Indian bush elephant. It's the smallest elephants.
You know what I've decided I really like?
They're smaller. They're smaller.
I only saw this the other day for the first time, and now I'm kind of obsessed with it.
What's that?
Elephant family nap time. I saw somebody drone.
Elephant family nap time.
Yeah, I saw somebody drone an image of an elephant family napping, and it was the cutest fucking thing that has ever happened, and the largest. It was the largest and cutest thing. So,
should we address putting elephants in rooms? Basically, we have been warned that the next section may be so horrible that Mama may not want to keep up with this. That it might be too brutal. So I am going to be reading ahead and giving very moderate spoilers, we think, to see if Mama wants to engage the next section. What do you think of this plan? Because you have been both ways on it. Like from I've seen, you've flipped from like, yeah, we probably should to no, I just wanna roll with it.
I'm terrified. I said to I'm sorry, I couldn't remember Cassie's fake name. I said to Lav today.
Yeah.
I was like,
I
said to Lav today. I'm okay as long as animals don't die. And then Lav said, "Ooh, yeah, might be a problem." And I was like, "What?" Maybe I'll be okay if they show that funny little snack with the silly hat again. That was
the snake with the silly hat cannot make it all worthwhile. The next section's quite dark. Look, guys, with how this section went, the next section can only be horrible.
Yeah, we knew that. As soon as we both read this, we were like, well, this isn't going to be good.
What comes next can only be the worst. Okay, people think it's a good plan for me to read ahead and give you
people think it's a good idea
spoilers.
For you to spoil me. That
tells you where we're going. That tells you where we're going if people think you should get spoilers.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I think that says a lot.
We're in a different zone now, friends. We're in a different zone.
When before would people have said this? Which section did you read? At the ending, the Black Hound, the Black Dog mercenaries were about to be sent after our friends Casca and Griffith and Guts and Pippin and Judo, who everyone loves.
Wait, does everyone love Judo?
Everybody seems to love Judo. As far as I've seen, I've only met one person ever who doesn't love Judo. Genuinely, one person ever.
Yeah, who's that?
Great Value Zod is actually what that guy is. That's so real.
Who's the one person who doesn't love Judo?
That's crazy. I don't know. We'll have to. The
That guy,
seasons
Judo
will let us
sucks.
know.
I hate that kid.
Oh my god.
Oh my god! Does Judo get killed in the next section? Maybe it's worth reading.
Probably. Okay. They'll all get killed. Judo's gonna get killed. Pippin's gonna get killed. Casca's gonna get killed.
It's gonna be so bad. I can feel it. I can actually.
They're all gonna die.
Feel it being the worst ever.
I mean, Rickert saw everybody who's not one of the important characters get like swept aside, like brushing an ant off your leg. That's the game we're in now. Let's switch to drawing.
Kill the little kid was my question. Like,
why'd we kill the little kid?
Why didn't we?
Why didn't we kill the little kid? I mean, he might have died. We don't know what happened after that moment.
That little kid just did nothing. He just stood there, and I was like, I'm pretty surprised you guys are just not eating him. I mean, he's such a wafer thin wafer.
Oh, I just realized I've been requested. What?
Drawk, you gotta update your screen.
What? This is unfair for it to do to me. And there's a reason it's unfair. The reason is that I did change the image, and now it's being a bastard. Oh my
god, did you see what Paladin just said?
What Paladin
It broke the dad who was reading with his daughter on TikTok's heart. When they finished the next section, he was a puddle of sadness.
That's so brutal.
That is not a great sign.
Wow. Oh wow, that's not a good sign. That's a bad sign. Who's picking what drawing and whatever?
I am.
The overlay says 11. Oh, okay, you're right. It does. I guess I forgot to change it. Hey, we're gonna delete this. Here, we're in the real-time update where we get to describe this.
I picked my one. How do you read? Because we all read in different ways.
How do I read? Usually left to right.
Oh, you big weirdo. I don't have black books anymore, which makes me cry in my soul. So I have to read on my Kobo. But reading on my Kobo hasn't been terrible. It's no sexy giant black book in public, but it is flippable, and I can read without it falling on my face in bed or a light.
It's Momzerk 8 now?
But you know what it makes it really hard to do is to coordinate with each other when 7. I'm trying to tell you what page I'm on.
It does. It makes it difficult. Wait, but you're not reading the black book still because you ran out of books, right?
No, I'm out of books, so I have to read. Yes, I did, Race Revenge, have a black book fall on my face. I was reading a black book in bed, and I got sleepy. And you can't get EP with a black book because I was not sleepy when it finished falling on my nose. I was very, very awake.
That's, it is funny though.
But the black books are sexy. You don't know what I'm reading. I get to choose the picture this week.
Okay, what are you picking?
You know, I'm going to tell you what page it's on in volume 10, because that's what apparently we're in. I'm on page 152
buddy,
of 241.
That's not going to mean anything. So you bought more black books?
I'm going to be. I'm in Kobo now.
You're in Kobo now. Okay.
Don't even. Anyways.
Can you take a picture?
Take a screenshot. Great. That would be really helpful. Yeah.
You should show the pictures of my little kitty cats and stuff on top of my computer screen.
Little kitty cats. Oh, okay.
The video. the video. I'm gonna send
Lav
this
wouldn't do
to
that. I
Drawk.
would do it, but yeah.
I'm gonna send this to Drawk.
You've yet to find Soundhanger Berserk.
You're a what? Discord. Discord.
Oh, not fire. I was like, damn, what a weird thing to say. What a weird thing to be like, yeah, I think all the soundtracks of Berserk aren't fire. Now this makes sense.
What makes sense?
Look, it's not guaranteed to be the final Momzerk. We'll see how we'll see how we're doing next time, because apparently it killed a man. This section killed a man. We'll see how we do.
Okay, I put it in the fashion Lucky Lav and me thing. Can you get that?
I can get that. Let me see.
That's the picture I want.
Okay. Which group did you? Which room did you send this in?
Fashion Lucky Lav and
art reference
and me.
Yeah, no. That's the server. I need you to tell me which.
No, I
like
put it
room.
in our chat.
Oh, that I can't get that on my computer.
I got it.
It doesn't matter because Fashion did.
It does.
Or sorry,
no,
Lab did.
Yes.
Hello, Angle Simp.
Can you send that to art references, Lav? Thank you.
They already did. That's how cool they are.
No, they didn't.
Hello.
They're doing it.
Gonna throw some points Pippin's way. All right, thank you.
Turn on
Pippin
Do Not
is.
Disturb. My phone is freaking
You know what
out today.
Pippin is, Rafe? Pippin
What?
is not Juno.
Judo's great.
Yeah, if you like Judo, I bet he is.
You see Judo kill two
Maybe
guys
I'm the
with
Drawk show.
throwing knives out of nowhere while everyone sneaks past, and you're like, fucking show off.
Did you just say show off?
Yeah.
I can appreciate
cool. This
that.
will work.
I was
I
coughing.
I have a problem with your choice.
What?
YouTube has regulations around what a thumbnail is allowed to have.
Yeah? Ooh, thank you, Mr. Powers.
Constipated genius. Oh my god, we're at a tier 3 side. Mr. Powers. That is so many. Clarif Gertha subscribed at tier 1, subscribed for 4 months. Thank you so much. Who just gifted all these subs?
Mr. Powers.
That was Mr. Powers. Mr. Powers gifted 5 tier 1 subs. My goodness. Jesus, thank you so much. Who's number 1? Yeah, who's gonna be number 1 today? Is this the final Momzerk? Anglesimp, we'll see. I'm going to read ahead and give some light spoilers. Yeah, so the issue is very simple with the image you've chosen, which is I can't use that as a thumbnail. I mean, I can crop it, I guess, but YouTube does have some restrictions.
You don't have to show the sword going through his body.
Okay, so just the cool pose.
Yeah. No, you can show the sword going through his body, and then in the thumbnail, crop it.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
when
crop it.
Come on, it'll be that.
I'm actually not sure I'm allowed to draw that. I think I am, because, like, you know, if you're allowed to watch violent video games on YouTube, it should work. Yo, still at work. Don't read ahead this week. We're not planning on it. We'll see what happens. Things are up in the air right now. We're in a wild time, guys. I need to find this in my own little page, so that I can get this in a higher resolution.
Anglesimp, I'm still sick. I'm going to be sick forever. I've talked to some people and they've told me, why do you think you're getting better? And that's helped.
Wow.
It really has. Because when other people tell you, no, you're just sick now. That's what it is. You're like, oh, okay. So I'm not alone. Okay.
I mean, Azzy's in that too. She's been coughing nonstop for weeks now.
Yep. It just is.
That's where we live now. I will say the picture you've chosen, while possibly too violent for what we're allowed, very cool, very cathartic.
Very cathartic. Getting better out of spite. If you're getting better at Rafe's Revenge, you need to not stop doing everything you're doing.
Don't let someone tell you what to do. You live your own life.
Keep on keeping on, friend.
Should we start talking about this section?
Have you agreed to my image?
I mean, yeah, it's happening.
Yeah.
We'll stab the horrible little man.
Yeah.
In
my defense, it's the most cathartic picture.
Yeah, I will say out of all the cathartic murders in this series, which there's a good number of, one of the best ones.
Yeah, I would agree. It just, and even though, can I just say, the person he was torturing is not my favorite person.
It's just like you put that much sauce on it, and yeah, you deserve that.
Yeah, I don't like how happy he was to kill people.
Wait. Let me, while I got a captive audience, let me really detailed go through why this was such a good experience for me. Whoa, you have some qualms about it. Lest you worry, I had legal confirmation, legal permission to do so. So actually, nothing here was unethical. Anyways, I really loved cutting tendons.
Everybody wanted me to kill him. You wanted me to kill him, but I didn't. I let him live. Why? Because I could heal him and cut more tendons.
Yeah. So then I started to skin the guy, and that was like, ooh,
that was not cool. And then when he died, when he's like, "You can't get through this door," so just be happy. I'm telling you a story. Once upon a time, I skinned someone. Uh-oh, what are you doing?
Couldn't help but notice that you got through the door. That wasn't allowed, actually. That's against the rules. Oh, man. King named him a blanket pardon, so he figures to get the most out of it. I love that dude, like, hey, guys, if someone tells you something's unethical and your justification is ever, actually, legally, this is allowed, just remember that when they started to get mad about torturing Griffith to near death, this guy's first statement was, whoa, the king let me do it.
Yes.
I just want you to remember that something being legal is never an ethical defense. Never. My mic, I did the thing.
I like it when he's in mid-rant and just disappears.
I did the thing ahead of time. And my mic is fucking on it today. It's not touching any power lines, which can cause it. Anyways, yeah, just remember that. Just remember this detail for your life, that it is never an ethical defense to be like, well, technically this is legal.
Oh, I've been using that for weeks. Woo, level 3! Hype train!
We reached level 3 with not available non-percent. Wow, thank you, Stream Elements. That's... Wow.
Okay, I'm on this page of startation.
You're on the page of startation? I'm on the page of stabation.
So we're both on a page, is what you're saying.
That is the thing our pages have in common, that they're both pages. You know what else they have in common is actually they're both pages of Berserk specifically.
Oh my god. We have so many things in common today.
True.
How do you feel about judo?
How do I feel about judo? Love them. See, what I love about judo is judo looks at a situation where someone is doing something that is emotionally taxing to them, that they are going to make a mistake with because of where they're at, and knows his friends well enough that he recognizes where someone needs to be supported and have the mental load taken. So he is willing to step in every time. I think that's great.
You know what I love about him?
What was that?
I love that
he's about to die.
He's available for a future murder.
Yeah, he's about to die for sure. I think judo's kind of the Sean of Berserk.
At first I thought he was the Usopp, but I eventually really liked Usopp. Maybe I'll like judo when he dies. Maybe that'll give me a good feeling towards him.
Judo is the Sean of Berserk, and I'm sticking by it.
What's our Sean?
Yeah, remember Undead Unluck? You remember Sean?
Oh, ew, that's not fair to Sean.
You hated we made fun of Sean for a long time.
Yeah, but I liked him in the end. Sean I liked.
And I think you'll like judo. Yeah, you know what? This should actually have the chapter.
Yeah, you should do that. That's a thing. People like it. All right, are you ready?
Go. Up to chapter 58. Now you guys know. Now you guys know the chapter. That way I don't need to answer the question. You know.
We both went back and read the last couple of chapters of the last section we did.
Which is weird because we did it independently. We both on our own were just like, yeah, let's reread the end of the last section.
I somehow felt like I wanted to see the snack because I wanted to see if I was wrong about the snack.
You wanted to see the goofy snake.
Yeah, everyone was like, that snack is really scary. I was scared by it. And I was like, it was the goofiest looking shit I've ever seen. So I went back to see if I was wrong. And nope, I still giggled out loud.
Hear me
It
out.
just looks like a big round head with a party hat on, but that's okay.
Hear me out about that snack.
Okay.
He's kind of got the energy of like if Jim Henson was really big.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could see that.
So imagine a really big Jim Henson is puppeting him.
I could feel like he could be like kind of a scary Fozzie Bear's best friend, kind of the way Big Bird had Snuffleupagus, but we all did it. We're supposed to pretend we couldn't see him.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Thank you, Legit Hawaiian.
Thank you, Legit Hawaiian. You're awesome. KPC.
KPC.
13 months is crazy. Thank you so much.
I think that's around the time that I've been doing this.
Wait. I just realized something I have to do really quick. But this was something I meant to do in the first 30 minutes when we're allowed to. So just give me a second here. Give me a second here.
You're at 23, so.
Guys. I don't know if you know this, but Magic the Gathering makes secret lair cards where they have special arts for cards, and this was the best secret lair ever. I love modern street fashion. I don't like high fashion. High fashion I find boring, but street fashion I think is so fucking cool. And they did a street fashion secret lair, the second one, and I wasn't playing during the first one, sadly. Holy shit, they're pretty. Anyways, that's all. I just wanted to show off my cool cards. Now we can keep going.
It was worthy. I'll allow it.
They're so pretty. They're so fucking pretty. I can make it relevant because one of the arts reminded me of Casca for some reason. Probably because she's brown and has big eyes. That's honestly probably all it is.
Pretty pictures make my brain go burr. All right. Oh, I want to say one thing too. I went to a play last night. I went to see Midsummer Night's Dream, and it was midsummer. There was a dream. It was good.
So I genuinely think the only reason this reminds me of Casca is that she's brown and has big eyes, but I don't know. Just kind of gives me Casca energy. This is my favorite of the secret lair. Look how cool she looks.
That's what I was going to say. Rave's Revenge. She does look cool.
So you met Puck.
So while I was there and I was watching it, I was like, you know what? This Puck character has got more to it. I hope Puck comes back because I have a feeling that it's going to help me do some linkies into Berserk. Unless the next section is so bad that I turn into a puddle and can't read any further. Did the dude and daughter, did he read further or did he say, fuck this shit and run
I think
away?
he finished from what I understand.
Hey, Frostfire. Oh. Odd user. You just like it. Pretty dark women with swords get in line, bro.
I will say, objectively, the Captains to Say one is my favorite of them. Almost everyone agrees that, almost everyone agrees that the Veyron Voice of Duality is the prettiest one. I think you'll love this one. This one's so good. I'm not going to
lie. You know who doesn't? Racists. Racists don't like pretty dark women. Because
that's true. Actually, so this is
not in a good way, Drawk. Not in a good way.
Not in a good way. I'm just saying that interracial porn does better, and it consistently does better online in the places with the most hate crimes. Racist people actually tend to really like brown people, just not in a good way.
Isn't the same as liking people.
Yeah. It's why when people say I'm not racist, I have blank wife, don't listen to them. Don't. Yeah, this woman, this art is so cool. I love street fashion. Street fashion is so cool.
It's the way that some men are obsessed with me because I am 6'2" and they just want to see if they can, overpower me. And I'm like, cute. No. That's not a kindness. It's not like they like me. They're just like, oh, I need to take her down a peg for being tall.
Angle simp, I have to be real, and don't take this the wrong way. You type in the exact way someone named Angle simp would, because you're right, but specifically jumping to the language, the vocab you use is very of a person whose username is Angle simp.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
They said, I mean, you know who Angles is?
Yeah.
Well, imagine someone who simps for angles. Wouldn't that be the person who talks about a colonial mindset?
I kind of like it.
Look, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying it's very on brand.
Never stop angle. Never stop stopping. Here we go.
Never stopping. That's real.
That's what I tell your dad all the time. You know what? You don't never stopping. You can't bring a tall woman. She can just put on heels. Okay, here we go. Boop, boop,
okay,
boop,
what's
boop.
up?
We wake up.
What's happening?
We're in a forest. We're naked.
That was true. That did happen. All of that. Oh, are we talking about the previous chapter or?
No, that's at the beginning of this one.
Oh, I forgot because I read them back to back this time. So yeah.
Like they have a whole little naked fight. And I was like, oh, this is a nice little very vulnerable open moment between this couple. That's nice. This is a nice little moment. And what I should have then known is that it was going to end the way it did.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh God. So they have the argument. She's super, like they're so vulnerable in this moment because
I think this is the past part because this is the one where they start talking about the blacksmith. I think this is the previous section.
Yeah, but I'm starting at the end of it.
Okay, that's what I meant. That's what I was saying.
Sorry, because when they wake up, they're just having their little moment, and I was thinking how crazy it is that she's like, you know what? It's probably basically because of the fact that you were sexually assaulted that made you so angry and hard in the beginning. And I was like, oh, you're just gonna say that. We're just gonna say it.
And then she's straight up like, that's probably why you didn't like people touching you too. And the fact that she just fucking goes for both of those is crazy. You don't expect people to. I love that Casca says emotional, hard conversations in a way you never expect characters to just directly confront.
Yeah. I was like, okay, Casca, I see you. I see that you're just laying it out there so that you guys can converse about it. That's very adult.
It's such an appealing part of her character that she just like takes on difficult emotional topics so fucking bluntly.
Yeah. And so they have that conversation and I was like, good for you. But then she gets really pissed off and Upper smacks him with leaves in the face because of his, I'm just going to peace out now, bro.
I need to pause again to say that someone says, as a lifelong Berserk fan who read it when I was 15, 31 now, Drawk reading ahead's the right choice. That's crazy, dude. Like... Most people I know get through it. Handful of people, including my older sister, was like, nah, I'm good. Not for me.
Wow. I'm actually...
It sure is a shame Casca's about to die because she is such a good character.
I love Casca. I can't believe this is going to happen. I am absolutely devastated by it. We predicted a long time ago, but predicting something and seeing it are very different.
You knew, spoilers, you knew a character was going to die in One Piece, like... Literally, I think 5 or 6 of our streams before it happened, and it still broke you so bad that you took a month off.
Oh God, it was so upsetting. I'm not over it yet. Every time somebody makes a donut joke, I want to put my hands to their donut. I'm like, quit talking about it. Oh, you're right.
She was saying it was likely as soon as he was introduced, and then it became a prediction like a few episodes later, which she was like, the forbidden prediction.
He was too cool. He was too much like Luffy. He had too similar of dreams. It had to happen. And I was like,
"There's quick with that trigger for sure." She was like, "Oh fuck, no!"
This was gonna die. I'm like, "There's no way they're letting this bastard live." Okay, so this was really important later on, which is kind of like a story.
I think we talked off stream before this. I think starting here is right for this reason. Go on, yeah.
So she gets all upset. They talk about how he doesn't want to go on, and then it flips into the babyhood of Griffith. He's running through the town. He's having difficulty. He's collecting items, and he immediately says that ever since he was a small child, he knew that he was destined for something bigger and different. And I think some people feel that way. Bagel jokes are out too, Frost. Some people feel that way when they're kids, like, I'm destined for something huge and da-da-da-da-da. But a lot of people do feel more comfortable in just saying like, no, I'm destined for this. This is who I am. And I feel comfortable in this situation.
What we were talking about is that it was so important that we both accidentally reread the last chapter because this is back to back with the old man talking about his journey and how he felt he was destined for blacksmithing. How before he could know about wanting anything, he wanted to improve. He hadn't thought about wanting something other than blacksmithing. So the first thing he was able to want was to improve, to hone a better sword, to make a sharper blade. And Griffith here, the exact same way, is saying the first thing he knew to want was the brightest treasure. Looking up at the fucking sky and seeing the sun, he was like, that's for me.
And we talked about how that actually can either be two incredibly different people talking about life in a different way, where one is really comfortable with finding purpose in the life they have and in the thing they become, and one of them is like, I seek something so much bigger and more grand. But it could also just be some people are meant for greatness, and that is the thing they need to get comfortable with, just like the sword maker, the blacksmith, was meant to be a blacksmith, and he talks about how it's the spark of his destiny. And then we looked at Griffith, and we were talking about how it could be the same coin, and Griffith is just on the side of the coin that wins bigger prizes and loses bigger prizes, and the blacksmith is on the side of the coin that finds comfort in the life that he was born into. And how cool that is.
It's so fucking compelling, and it's so hard. I want you to think, if you're a writer, I want you to think about how hard it would be to write two characters who, without ever pointing it out, both act as a perfect foil and opposite to each other, and work as telling you the exact same lesson at the same time. And then to layer it being even more impressive as a writer, add on top of that, that Casca is somehow acting like neither of them at the same time, acting as a foil and a comparison for both of them, as Casca has previously said, yeah, I am going to reject my humanity and become my purpose, a sword like you two, and now have grown to say, why can't we just live? Why can't we just be people? Casca has become a woman again. And not in the way of, oh, she was a man, but in the way of, this is a series where we see people be not human. Woman and man are human identities. Sword is not. Casca has stopped being a sword, become a woman, become a person, become a leader, and is now in a position that she did not see as her purpose in many ways, both as Guts' lover and as the leader of the Hawks. She is something other than her purpose and just living. She is entirely different than them, but she's somehow the same as Griffith because she seeks a greater purpose than the moment, and she is somehow the same as the man because she has accepted her place instead of seeking some great dream. Imagine making three characters who, in a quick succession like this, are perfect comparison points and foils, and like have this boiled similarity to them. That's so fucking impressive.
And then to make it be seen through a fourth character, Guts, who sought a destiny, didn't feel a destiny, has been running through life trying to create a destiny, saw himself for a while as Griffith, then saw himself for a while as this blacksmith, and now saw in Casca this soldier who chose that and realized that he needs to choose a destiny. And so because of Griffith, I think that we were able to see all three of those characters to their fullest capacity because of his journey, because of Guts.
Real quick, hey, Kev Dog, nice to see you. Kev Dog was one of the people in the Reverie with us.
Hey, Kev Dog. Oh, I remember Kev Dog.
Yeah.
Kev Dog was cool.
Kev Dog was cool. Kev Dog, I subscribed to you because I wanted to watch one of your videos, and YouTube did that fucking thing it does where it doesn't show you someone you subscribe to them, and I just got recommended one of your videos for the first time since subbing to you literally yesterday. So it's actually kind of crazy you showed up. Hopefully this reminds me to actually click on them instead of just trusting that the subscribe button means anything, because it doesn't.
That's a lie. The subscribe button is a lie.
The subscribe button is nothing. It means nothing anymore.
It helps our algorithm, but it doesn't help you find the person. You have to keep looking for it.
Oh yeah, we're supposed to like the subscribe button because it's good for us. It just doesn't help you. Hey guys, sub because it helps us.
Yeah. I like how you're like, stop subscribing, everyone. It's useless.
Wait, there's a subscription tab. I keep forgetting. I only watch on mobile, and the tab isn't as visible. Yeah, Lav is right. We shouldn't say the subscribe is bad. You guys should subscribe. The Twitch sub button is a big deal. That is very true. It's very different than the YouTube sub button.
Okay, I'm moving on. You're boring.
Let's move on. But isn't this so fucking cool?
I think having Guts in there as a person who was looking for his destiny in a different way and in such an open way with us this entire time has really let us look at the way that all of these people are so similar and yet so different.
Yes.
Okay. We get to go into a cool place now, though. Like, You and I talked about this earlier, but the
Yes.
fact that nobody in the anime gets to see the beginning that we saw as readers is fucking wild. Because we know to hate Griffith, but not only that, we were talking earlier about how we are comparing a man whose soul was taken over by the devil, who became an absolute horror show, ate people, etc., still refused to sacrifice his daughter in order to live forever. And yet, here we are looking at Griffith, and we know what a piece of shit he becomes, so we know that he just gives up on his people and intentionally sacrifices people who had such deep meaning to him.
And I think you could, if you had not read the manga, you could so much more easily say, well, Griffith, of course he's going to, because he couldn't move or speak if he didn't.
Yes.
He would be like this forever. However, you've been forced as a manga reader to see a man you know is evil, a man you know to be a bad guy, the Slug Dad. You know Slug Dad is bad. And yet you see Slug Dad.
Wait. We both agreed that out of the dads of this so far, Slug Dad is the best dad.
When you read it, as you're in the moment, you know he's a bad guy. You know he's a villain. You hate Slug Dad. You know he's a villain. You know he's a bad guy. And yet you see that when push comes to shove, he wins Dad of the Year because he is offered, hey, rule in hell as a god forever and kill your daughter, or be condemned to have your soul ripped apart by demons for an eternity and your daughter can live. And he chose the latter. And you can say, oh, but look at how bad Griffith's situation is. He'd have to give up on his dream and he'd have to be crippled forever. Okay, well, Slug Dad was able to look at that and say, yeah, I would rather literally have my soul eaten for an eternity than sacrifice my daughter. Oh, wait, exactly. Slug Dad's number 2 dad. Goto the blacksmith is a better dad.
Be the new dad. Whoa, let's have a round of applause for the blacksmith being just a normal dad.
Yeah. Okay, Slug Dad's the second best dad in Berserk.
I'm so excited. I mean, the bar is low. The bar is so low.
Gambino was our first bar, and he said it was our bar setter, and he did not set a high clearance for dads.
Yeah, when you sell your kid off as a sex toy, you really are just like, how low can I make the bar for dadding?
Hey, Lav, are you looking forward to bleeping things out this episode?
Oh, yeah.
I think that if you hadn't read the beginning and you had just seen the anime, you just wouldn't understand how you would watch Griffith fall into despair, fall into madness, be tortured for all this time. And you would think like, this makes sense. And people are being hard on Griffith. This only came because of his circumstance. But after Dad of the Year number 2, showed us what it looks like to stand by your principles after eating children.
To be fair, eating other children, eating other people's children.
We know that Griffith is actually a bigger piece of shit than Slug Dad, which is a pretty big thing to do. Like, it takes a lot to become that bad. But this descent into madness of Griffith in there with just like the way that he decided to do the art, a gradient shading with a bright spot in the center, a lightning bolt moving across, one eye, a hand. And then the lightning bolt coming across, only him, like lightning on the dark night. He rises up within me blazing. And the way that we see that all the ways that he sees Guts through jealousy, through longing, through hope, and how Guts becomes his only touchstone in the darkness. Come on. So I'm wondering, like, I know something terrible is going to happen. Obviously, apparently some dad reading this turned into a puddle of hopelessness. Nobody has seen him since. He's finished Berserk and now he's done. But
vanished from eternity.
He's vanished for eternity. But I'm wondering how he didn't have to give Griffith up, or if Guts' suffering and being hunted is part of his giving up. If he was supposed to not just kill him, but actually torture him in this way.
So someone's asking how I'm feeling about Griffith Apologist at this point, and I think I'm feeling a very nuanced way about it. So do you mind, and you can cut in where you disagree. I'll speak to my point, but I think this is important at this point as we continue, because we're about to go into how Griffith has affected everyone. This entire section is about the ripples of Griffith.
Did you just say the ripples of Griffith?
Yeah, you know.
I think we should put that up on the title.
So here's what's up. Griffith is written to be a takedown of the values of a protagonist. He is meant to be an exercise in examining that there is an inherent selfishness to seeing yourself as so important that your ambitions come above everything else around you. We are shown that in many, many ways. Guts right now is a man who is trying to become a protagonist without knowing what that means, without knowing he's in a world of narrative. But this is in a world where there are gods who basically use humans for their narrative. They manipulate people. We see through this section people saying they're doing things that they don't understand that they're doing, that they don't feel like they can do. Charlotte especially is seen as someone who's changing and someone who is doing things she doesn't understand. I feel as though that is God's hand pushing people's wills to use them as players in a narrative. Griffith is a protagonist. Guts is the protagonist. And that distinction is one of the most interesting things about Berserk. I think as a consumer of media, you are trained to accept the protagonist's drive, the protagonist's will, as an inevitable fact. I think the media you have consumed has taught you that the protagonist is right to pursue their ambition at all causes, at all costs, because that is what drives story. The story exists because of their drive, because they are built to accomplish something. And this is a story that's meant to show us how kind of vapid that is, how self-indulgent it is to see a world where anything could happen and see only your path, only your vision forward as the relevant thing. I think it makes perfect sense that people would be bought in by it. Now, I think that the distinction comes pretty easily. If you read the manga, you are shown someone who is able to turn down their path that has been set forward by God. God allows free will in this world. There is a pressure on the scales, for sure. There's a finger on the scale, but you have free will. We are shown a bad man choose suffering over his dream, over his ambition. And I think that alone, and knowing that Griffith will not make that choice, is enough to entirely change how you read Griffith. I think that bias we have towards trusting protagonists would motivate us to be an apologist for Griffith if we didn't have that opening. I think you'll see far fewer people who read the manga versus watch the anime be a Griffith apologist. Because if you see the horrors that Griffith has gone through and you haven't shown the objective fact that you are allowed to give up, that it is okay, that you don't need to accomplish what you see as justice to be good, to be redeemed, to succeed. I think if you didn't see that, that blinder you have on of trusting a protagonist would make you feel like he had to make the choice he's going to make, that he had to do the horrible things that we know he's about to do. However, if you read the manga, the series has told you that isn't the case, that the protagonist is not inherently virtuous, is not inherently justified in pursuing their goals, and that you should rather give up than cause suffering to those you love. That's how I feel about the Griffith Apologist. Do you have any corrections there, or do you feel like that's pretty salient?
I don't see it so much as a correction. I see it under moral and ethical frameworks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that a lot of times that I would agree with you 100%. Like we've talked about this over and over again.
Yeah.
That if you haven't read the manga and you've only watched the anime, that it would be really easy to be a Griffith apologist. But also, I think it has a lot to do with where your moral and ethical framework is, whether you know it or not, whether you know they exist. Because some people, I think another thing that the author is trying to do here is he's trying to show how even some of the most insane, outlandish actions can be justified by a person who's trying to reach a specific goal, and that they can justify in their mind why it is that they believe it's okay, and they can say like it's an act of utilitarianism, like every single person is their own judge. You judge what is good and bad, therefore where do you come off telling me whether this is good or bad? I can only judge myself. And then there's a kind of egoism where it's you maximize your own self-interest, whereas some people are more on deontological, where they're thinking more like the greater good. Like you can have your own actions, but you also have to think of the greater good of humanity. And I think that Griffith and his character, the reason some people feel okay apologizing for him and thinking that he's okay, is because their own moral and ethical framework has taken them to places where they understand how sometimes you can make really shit choices because you think you're doing it for the best way. The same way, like the path of good intentions leads to hell. That while you're trying to do these big things and these great things and have this huge band, that all the things that you're trying to be and do can end up landing you in a shit place where you start to make bad decisions on behalf of everyone. And before you know it, you're the bad guy. And once you're already the bad guy, now in for a penny, in for a pound, you just start doubling down on your choices. Whereas Guts shows us how hard it is to make the other choice. Because in the end, Griffith is the one standing there with the power of hell, fully healed and strong, while Guts is being attacked and persecuted and traumatized on a daily basis, trying to do the right thing for the right reasons, no matter what it does to him. And so he becomes cold and shut down and looks like a less friendly and interesting and approachable human being, but it's because the responsibility of doing things for an ethical reason and in an ethical way ends up wearing his soul down and his ability to be a person.
But then we have the other issue where Guts has been, to try to stop Griffith, forced to basically become him, where the dark mark means demons are chasing him, and choosing to continue to live instead of surrendering and dying is killing people. Guts is causing harm to everyone around him. He has been forced to become Griffith. How do you skip the prologue? The series is made. I know that the betrayal stings more.
Because when I was thinking about it, because I was teaching kids over the last few weeks, we've been in philosophy, we've been doing moral and ethical frameworks. And I was thinking about this manga, and I would never have children read it. Like,
no, you can't tell your high school. Are there some high schoolers who can handle Berserk? Totally. But you can't prescribe this.
Well, we haven't read the next part, so I don't know if there's some high schoolers.
Hey, someone said they read it when they were 15. They seem okay.
No, that upsets me. But while I was reading this, I was thinking about how this series and this story literally moves through all the different frameworks at one time or another. It has all the different types of frameworks, from thinking from egotistical to thinking all the way outside to everything in between. Every one of the different frameworks, including the ones where we're talking about God, everything is answered in here. And I started to wonder, like, how into philosophy was this person? Because I feel like he literally listed the frameworks of moral and ethical relativism and then said, like, okay, let's go.
It feels incredibly salient as a philosophical read. And like, God, just thinking about, like, I just think about how unique this is in the world of manga. Because I said it before, that manga is such a crushing industry that usually so much emphasis is put on your drive, your dream, your ambition is inherently worthwhile, and giving everything you are and everything you have for what you believe in is wonderful, is a gift. And yet we see a brief glimmer of celebration at the Bonfire of Dreams of seeing how it's okay to want a normal life, of how it's okay to be doing something you don't want to do, to build the finances, to build the stability, to have a regular life, a peaceful existence. We see things like the blacksmith be at peace, having never chosen his path. And we see things like Casca in what I think is one of the most beautiful, somber moments of the series, talk about how she could just live with Guts and how both of them still want to be mercenaries. It's not like they're done with violence, but because it's all they're good at. They are two incredible soldiers. They're not going to have another life, but that they don't need that life to be a pursuit of some great dream, that they can just be them. And how rare is it for an industry that cooks people so desperately and only holds up those who get... And this author has to be more of a Griffith in how they live their lives, because they're a mangaka. He died young, having burned himself out, putting everything into telling a story, which is what mangaka do. And yet he understands that there may be a sickness to that mindset. He still tells us that there is a piece to embracing normalcy.
I think there's a couple of things. Like, he doesn't just say there's a piece to, he is championing normalcy. He's saying that the people who are content in their position are the people who are the luckiest and lead the best life.
Yeah.
He's also
it's kind of Buddhist.
He's also saying it is a choice because dude might have been born into the blacksmith world, but he chose to stay in it and he chose to become amazing at it. And more importantly, he chose to love it. And that's what people sometimes talk about in things like arranged marriages, where they're like, yeah, I mean, maybe you wouldn't choose it, but you can choose to love someone in an arranged marriage and just say, this is the circumstance we are both in. And now we both need to find the great things about each other, because that feels like what he did in blacksmithing. The thing that Clarith said, though, up here is the thing that I was talking about, where they said, I absolutely understand why Griffith does everything he does and how he justified it to himself and why people defend him. This doesn't make me an apologist for Griffith at all. It just makes me feel disgust towards myself and a burning hatred towards Griffith. And this is what I was talking about as I was reading this and looking at how he goes through all the moral and ethical frameworks. I was like, he wants us to be horrified at those moments in ourselves. And some of us will end up apologizing for it because we've all done or said things. And then we've been like, ooh, that was really just for me. That's really about me and my climbing and my happiness. And yeah, it's important that we protect ourselves and we create our own lines. But some people take it that extra step sometimes too far. And I think that he wants us to feel that way. And then some of us end up apologizing for him more. And some of us just hate ourselves for it.
Oh, that's...
Either way, you learn something. Either way.
Can I just say that, like, I love reading this series, but I think even more than Undead Unluck for me, this series is improved by discussion and discourse.
I would agree. This one requires discussion and discourse.
Yeah, like that's where it becomes at its best, because actually reading it, there is this nuance and depth here, but I think I don't think anyone could, without talking to someone else and without getting their thoughts on the table, really access all of the nuance and depth to this series just on their own. Like, there's so much more you can access by talking about it. This series really benefits from discussion in a way that, like, is kind of uncommon.
Thank you, Pharaoh. So his editors actually came out to say that he didn't burn himself out for the last 15 years of his life. He took really good care of his health. The first 20 years is when he was in an insane grind.
That's still awesome, though, that he was able to, like, look at this and say, hey, I'm going to take it chill. I know I won't produce as much, but I want to live my life. Like, he basically was able to take Casca's offer and say, hey, just live and love. And I think that's really beautiful.
Oh, and we are all given Casca's offer in different ways. Hey, like, I was thinking about, even though Casca's offer was like such an offer of love and relationship, and I was thinking in so many ways we are all given Casca's offer when we're told, like, hey, do you want to come off the crazy train and just kind of go on this path with me? And how many times people are like, oh, I think I'm going to Griffith this. And I think, like, that's a real highlight, because not only is Guts giving up Casca's offer, it kind of also gives up Casca's peace, because then Casca doesn't get to have the peace of the person she is meant to be with either.
Oh man, this is such a well-told story. It's such a shame about what's about to happen to us.
Oh God. I can't even.
It's gonna be so bad. It's gonna be so bad.
Okay.
Oh, man, dude.
So seeing Griffith in the basement going nuts, I loved how they showed. Do you remember how excited we both were by the Guts coming out with all the swiggity swag when he had on his wicked cloak and his cool hat?
Yeah.
And Griffith saw him, and Guts had just done his bidding, and yet somehow Guts seemed like the one who was cooler, more in control, and just like in the lead position there. This is when you and I said, oh, this is when things switch.
He was reobtaining the protagonist status.
Yes. And then what does the author show us in this next thing when Griffith is in the dungeon perseverating on Guts and what he means to him and how he thinks about him? That one little moment that we both said, oh, this is the switch.
Yeah. Oh my God, I didn't even know. I didn't put that together. You're right. I'm going to say we both agreed. I'm going to give that one to you. I've had a lot of smart observations of the series. You were the one who highlighted that was the moment of the switch. I just agreed with you. That was you. I'm giving that one to you.
Well, either way, I was just like, it is such a cool thing that he's in the basement in a dungeon thinking about this moment. And there is that exact moment where it's like, blip. And now it's the Guts show, buddy. And then he ends up unraveling himself. Guts ends up becoming this bigger than life character, traveling, trying to find who he is, going on his own quest, separate of everyone, and comes back, and Griffith is a shell of the man that he was. And Guts literally plows through the entire dungeon rescuing Griffith. So Griffith is just absolutely 1,000% at the whim of Guts. And that is just like, what a full circle moment there.
It's so cool to see, because like so much of this series has been about Griffith accidentally making Guts the protagonist. Like to the oh my god, the meta narrative is so beautiful, because remember what I said earlier about how Guts became Griffith because he's now hurting people to keep on going on his quest to kill Griffith. He has fully put all of the onus of protagonist on Guts, turned him into protagonist, given him a dream, given him ambition, made him the person with agency, made him the one who rescues Griffith, given him all of the power, including what the narrative sees, what the narrator sees as the cost of being the protagonist, of causing 100%. Harm to others in pursuit of your journey. Oh my God, the series is so much about what Griffith has done to everyone, to the point that includes making someone else this toxic protagonist, this dangerous wrecking ball moving through the world of the story. This is fucking smart.
I think it's also really intelligent of the author, because we get to crawl inside of Griffith's head and see how very uncrazy he is. I mean, is he a stable genius? No. Or maybe yes.
No.
Is he a very stable genius? But no. But we see his body broken, and yet it goes into his eye over and over that the rest of him may be destroyed, but he's still perseverating and aware, so that when we see him rescued, we understand the mental duress that he's under, but how he is still very aware of his circumstance, his life, the choices that were made. So when he can't talk because his tongue is cut out, and when he can't move because his tendons have been destroyed, and when his body has been flayed and he's naked and he's so thin that there is no energy in him to do anything, we know that his brain and when he's watching and they keep cutting back to his face inside of his mask, we know everything is hitting
when
him.
Pippin says Griffith showed me, that was fucked. Like, this man is thinking so hard that he thinks, how do I with my eyeballs communicate a plan to a man who will understand it with my fucking eyes? God.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So it was really intelligent to show us all the narration of his mind first, so that we could see just how cognizant and destroyed he is mentally. He's there, but boy's got some baggage now. Yeah, he could go on a worldwide trip for 3 years without packing another thing. Like, boy is bringing his baggage. Oh, and then we get the cancer kid coming out of the dungeon for a little, hey there, Griffith, how's life? Decided to come and introduce you.
Hey there, buddy. What's up, Prince of Darkness? We just came here, kiss the ring finger. Gonna be a good one. I'm looking forward to the coronation. I'm sorry. Sorry, are you hallucinating? I just taking a load, taking a tour around. Nice to meet you, bud.
And that was a really, really important moment just before he's rescued, because now we have so much information going into the future. We have
he's got so much more hope now. Like, like that has to have rekindled him, because he's like, Prince.
Prince. What the hell? I knew I was destined for greatness. So you have the maid of cancer kid come out, kiss the ring, tell him that things are about to change, and then he's rescued right afterwards. And it makes you think about the part where there was the written part that said that people don't actually have the free will they think they have. Because when you see the bubble demon kid come out of the thing to kiss the ring just before he's rescued, the timing is too precious, not intentional. And so that's the finger on the scale that we were talking about earlier when you were talking about, like, is there a finger on the scale? That's the heavy ass finger on the scale. Oh, are you about to be rescued now by Guts? Have you just perseverated about how he has so much strength? He's so beautiful. He wins the hearts of people and he gets to make his own decisions and walk away from your destiny? Were you absolutely destroyed by your longing for him? Oh, just a minute. He's about to rescue you and you're going to have to look at him again? Let's give you hope of being the prince again.
I just want to also highlight here something that Griffith says is so important. People talk about how he might not be a narcissist. He might not be. He might be a psychopath. He is something different. He is something that others him and destroys his feeling of empathy, because you see the way he thinks of other people so deliberately here, where he talks about how I'm not like other people. They always see me with either, it's like disdain or longing. And like the fact that he sees what it kindles in other people as observations. He has this very tactical observations about his impact on people rather than an emotional feeling. Like, this is so giving us the perspective of someone with damaged empathy. Like, there's no other explanation. You know, when people say there's no heterosexual explanation, there's no, what? We need a word that basically means neurotypical, but instead of like just saying people without any disorders, it just means people without empathy disorders. You know, there's no, you have a sense of empathy explanation for the goodwill or animosity. That's what it is. There's no way to explain the way he sees other people. If that's what destiny will to make you sacrifice them, they are really not a lot of people would be strong enough to turn it down. I disagree, because it doesn't make you sacrifice random people. It makes you sacrifice people who matter to you. If Slug Dad can refuse the offer, fucking anybody can. Slug Dad.
I agree. Because like you can't see Slug Dad and say like, this is a dude you expect
this
to make
is the
right
pillar
choices.
of humanity. This is a this is a standing pillar of virtue. Slug Dad is not a pillar of virtue. I refuse that perception of reality.
Especially since he just like randomly, like, not only does he kill and eat children and other people, I mean that's bad, and just take their ears randomly and be like, I'm gonna eat your ear in front of you. As a way of just understanding how bad you are. Yeah. Like, he doesn't appear in any of the things to have any humanity left in him, and then when push comes to shove, he saves the one he loves.
I want to talk about something that I've noticed with the series that I think is really good.
Yeah.
Human weakness. Okay, so I talked before about how it's really hard to write the nuanced difference between what we tell ourselves as our narrative of what's happening and what we're the complex cocktail of emotions, because humans are not so simple, and how this author captures that better than I think anyone I've read, or at least maybe I've just become a better reader and now this is the first time I've been able to see it. Either way, I think it's very rare. And I think one of the ways we see that in this series is people's human weaknesses, they justify. I think anytime you see someone running through justifications, and we see that a lot in this section, we'll talk about this in a little bit, but anytime you see justification, that's human weakness in this series. That's how it's presented to us. So for me, the only time we see justification that the Slug Dad gives is for killing his wife, where he justifies why he did it. So I think that's the one he feels bad about. That's the one he feels is too far. I think the fucking eating children and whatever, I don't think he feels bad about, because he has no need to justify it.
That's disturbing, PPSS.
Yes. But I'm just saying, the guy who doesn't need to justify eating children, I don't think we can look at as a pillar of virtue. I think like
I had a little moment
people
here.
Wouldn't sacrifice their loved ones.
I had a little moment for me where I think that in the fact that he's calling him the prince and stuff, and I can be putting my own spin in, and I don't give a shit. That it felt really like the thing that the author was trying to highlight was that Griffith is Machiavellian. That, especially when you look at the fact that, you know, Machiavellian has the book about the prince called The Prince. But he's got this kind of feeling like power is the ultimate good. So being super powerful and able to control and manipulate things is actually the thing that makes good. That's what's moral. Using people strategically would be the best thing to do, whether it's befriending or seducing or whatever you're doing, manipulating them, because
isn't it, just to give Machiavelli a bit more nuance than he perhaps deserves, wasn't it more like, if you believe you are just, and lack the power to exercise justice, then you are not actually accomplishing good. You are a worse good than you would be. So you should focus on power, because what ethical value do you offer if you can't exercise it? Isn't it something like that?
Machiavelli really believes in, like, first of all, the end justifies the means.
Yes.
So whatever the end result is, whatever means it takes to get there doesn't matter. And that if you don't have the ultimate power, then you can't control what the end is. And if I haven't been justified yet, then it isn't the end yet.
Yeah. It was I think it's like, it's this weird thing where not to say you're wrong, but just to say, sell it to everyone in the most communicative way.
Agree.
It's like, rather than power being justice, it's that there's no justice without power, because then you have no control over what happens.
Power. Yeah. And then the other thing is that, like, he has an illusion of virtue, because everyone around him keeps thinking like he was so good, he was so golden, he was charming and noble, he inspired people. And that's like that illusion of virtue. But then that betraying them and sacrificing all of them as a political tool actually falls into Machiavellian perfectly, because he would say like, well, that's just another way of gaining power. And gaining power is the most important thing, because once you get to the end, you will see that power requires sacrifice. And so my willingness to chuck these people under the bus is actually virtuous, because I'm not at the end yet. And you'll see that when I get to the end, all of this is justified. My actions are justified through the accumulation of power and my ability to predict the ending.
Griffith is a class traitor. That's true, Anglesimp. I agree with you. I feel
like that's where I am with Griffith right now.
I think someone was like, it's about principles, but I think what's interesting about Berserk is, I think Berserk's perspective on humanity is actually kind of interesting. And this is going to sound grim, and maybe this is reading a bit of my philosophy into it. I don't think Berserk is a series that truly believes in principles. And what I mean by that is, I think people are acting according to what they think is right and wrong in the moment. And we're seeing people constantly like retroactively justify why their actions are in line with principles. I think some people, Berserk and I both believe, have principled values, but we see people go against what you would think would be in line with their principles and then justify it. I think I would notice it a lot here, because people act more emotionally in this section, because this is about Griffith's deep pull on people. But I think like people are coming up with post hoc reasons that their actions make sense a lot of the time, when they're actually just acting as people.
I would argue that, but I would argue the only person who ever lives up to their moral and ethical framework is Griffith. That
I think you're right. I was thinking that as I said it.
And that he is the only man who stands by his quote unquote principles.
Yeah, which is why I don't think this is a series about having principles being good, because a lot of people kind of abandon their principles for the sake of what matters more, which I think the series values, which is human connection, which is other people, which is the value we find in each other and each other's dreams. And Griffith, you're right, lives up to his principles of everything justifies my rise so perfectly.
Well, the accumulation of power, the end justifies the means for it. Yeah, no, I would say he's the only one who does. All right, we better move forward.
We got to move forward. This is such a good section for discussing, though.
It really is. And the funny thing is that you do a lot of the discussion for later on in the beginning, because like a lot of this is just stuff that happens, whereas right now is kind of like some meat and potato. At first, when they were like, they picked who was going away from the Band of the Hawk, and they were like, it's this group. I'm just gonna say we didn't need to see the moment that Casca gets on the horse and her vagine is in pain. That was weird. I was like, ugh. Because I can tell you, as a person who's ridden horses, riding a horse hurts your vagine more than sex. It just does. So trying to pretend that Griffith
to go into the detail, but my guess is that you didn't ride a horse the day after you lost your virginity. Maybe that's a thing. It feels weirdly specific.
No, the virginity thing is deeper in. The horse hurts the outside.
Fair.
I don't know how to tell you this in a nice way, but the horse will hurt your vagine more. It just will. So if this chick can ride a horse, dude obviously
disagree, and I won't explain why.
I'm just saying that if this dude has never had a vagine, then they did it They did it wrong. I mean, he did literally.
Personally, I thought it was real.
Ridiculous.
I thought it was really
and then
real.
I feel like maybe you were lucky in some ways because Lav is often disagreeing. I'm saying Lav is often disagreeing with a lot of your points about anatomy. And
I talked to other women and said, okay, I gotta ask you a question. About this particular scene. So I talked to other women about this particular scene because I'm like, this is wild. And I said, like, Lav, have you ridden a lot of horses? Yeah, no, you're wrong.
No, but had a lot of.
I talked to a bunch of other women who rode horses, and I said to them, okay, am I being overly sensitive about this? And they were like, no, horses kill the vagine. They absolutely kill the vagine. And so I was like, okay, I thought I was right. It's like if you ride the wrong bike, oh goddamn. If you don't have padding in there and you're riding the wrong bike saddle and your ass isn't ready for it, that does it as well. But horses in particular are horrifying. Horrifying on that. It takes a while to get used to it. And so I'm not going to out the person I talked to, but they own horses and they ride horses for a living. And they were like, oh, even now sometimes I'm like, goddamn, why'd I choose this? So yeah, this was a bit
We can
wild.
move on. I will say I've heard disagreement for at least one voice. This is why women do ride with the legs to the side sometimes. You have to be able to compare
riding a horse to a dude. You can't compare them unless you've done both.
From what I understand, the riding with the horse on the side thing is a weird thing. So hear me out. I could be mistaken, but from what I've been told, riding side saddle for a while was improper, but it became improper in kind of the way it was like a feminine equivalent of, you know, that thing, you know how like when Rebel Without a Cause came out, wearing jeans and a t-shirt instead of a shirt and slacks was seen as improper, and then it became sexy and cool to do. It was counterculture, and then became like a way noble women would show off their good rearing was, oh, she can ride side saddle. So it was a thing that culture moved slowly. From, if I could be mistaken, people point out if I'm wrong, but I think in England, it was at first like a, oh, how dare you be improper? And then it was like a, well, you know, now your dress isn't riding up and it looks more feminine and it's kind of a show-offy thing that you're good at this.
People don't like it when women. I
think that's a thing I've been told.
Anything. If a woman sits with her legs apart, she's a whore. If a woman rides with her legs apart, she's a whore. It's just basically women like to control, or people like to control how women sit and move with their legs apart. Okay.
I just want to say, I'm not talking to chat at all during this section. However, chat, you've been great this section. I hope that everyone watching this on YouTube has been loving chat.
Chat's been killing it. Okay.
Chat's the star of the show.
When they found their way in so easily, I was so glad. Like, we knew it was the princess, but I'm like, thank you for actually addressing it. Because otherwise, like, Guts is like, you're never going to find it in this tiny little area, blah. And then they're like, oh, look, there it is. And I was like, God damn, it better be the princess or this is awkward as ass.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It is nice that we immediately, without them having to tell us directly, it becomes obvious, oh, that's how they knew where the entrance was. Like, they didn't need to say, this, Guts, is how we know.
Yeah, I know. I was happy with that. Their little weird moment together, I'm going to call it romantic, and I'm going to allow it to happen because you're about to go through some shit. You guys should really enjoy this moment before you go down there. I mean, really.
I'm going to correct myself. I did a quick Google. I want to correct myself. So at first, it was uncool to do side saddle because it was unsafe. Then when people were like, that's unsafe, women just stopped riding like for a while women didn't ride horses because it was improper. Then side saddle was invented because a woman wanted to ride a horse up to marry a guy, so she basically rode on the side of the horse because exactly what Mama Drawk said of being indecent to have her legs apart. There we go. Now we have the story of side saddle. It was invented for women to literally, the explanation is protect their virginity while riding a horse.
No, for real. A lot of people lose their hymen while they were riding a horse. Like, I'm telling you.
Horse riding. And it looks like it fell out of fashion in about the same time that protecting women's virginity became more of a political issue in Europe. Because so that makes sense.
Horse riding actually has broken hymens. And if you're a woman who's trying to prove her virginity for, like, I don't know, royalty reasons, where they're checking your goddamn bed sheets after your marriage, you'd be like, well, here's the awkward thing. I ride horses.
Yeah, people love to think about highlighting the noble life, but historically, for a lot of people, your job for a while as a noblewoman was to be a virgin. There's a lot of weird things. Let's move on. History sucks.
History sucks. I love
Don't
it.
learn history. It's bad.
I love history. And also, okay, so
the issue
let's
with
let
history
them,
is people are there.
let's let them have their little moment here. You guys really enjoy this kiss and this intimate moment, because I'm going to tell you a little secret. You're about to see some shit. You're about to do some shit. This is your last happy moment, and apparently it gets worse.
This is the last happy moment forever. Yep.
I warned him, and then I flipped.
It's gonna be a 3-hour one, huh?
And Casca's like, "Let's go!" And then it shows Casca's face being like, "Oh." No, I don't think it's going to be a 3-hour one, because we've gone through the really rough parts of, as far as like, you know.
We did do a lot of the deep discussion too.
Yeah, I like how well Guts and Casca are running through the dungeon, that they're both having their Griffith moments, thinking about who Griffith was and what he means to them, the same way Griffith just had his Guts moment.
Well, something I want to talk about here that I talked about, this is where I realized stuff about justification, that we see Charlotte, Casca, and Griffith are all making mistakes here. They're doing the wrong thing. They're speaking improperly. They're stumbling. And they're all doing it for emotions. And Casca and Griffith, because they don't, they're more mature, serious people than Little Girl Princess, are coming up with constant justifications to ad hoc explain why what they're doing totally makes sense, and they're justifying emotional choices. And I love it because it writes so much nuance in that Griffith or Guts and Casca are constantly being off their game here because of their emotions. I just love this section.
And as we get deeper and deeper into the basement, we're getting deeper and deeper into our emotions, and we're already getting very volatile. So you can see why we came to the place that we did based on the way that we get there.
Mm-hmm.
When they popped out and they had Charlotte too, I was kind of like, Charlotte seemed to understand, and I wanna cut this chick some slack, since her father tried to get into her business.
Yeah, that's a word.
I don't.
There's words for that. I know we can't. We got
talking about it. Like,
we'll cut her some slack.
Yeah. But the problem is that when she started to scream, because Casca was like, dude, you're not going to help. Like, he's going to hunt us to the edge of the, to be fair, he does anyways, but he's going to hunt us to the edge of the earth. If you're with us, there's a chance he won't. So when she screams, I'm like, bitch, seriously? You know what's up for stake, and it's apparently the man that you love with your whole heart, and yet you're going to call guards' attention? Like,
It's
girl.
Interesting because it feels like she is doing if her motivation is to come along, it is a smart and tactical decision to force them to keep her with them.
Yes.
However, she's not thinking tactically. However, Casca also then admits that her main reason for saying that was that she feels jealous and she feels bad about it. Like, there's so many layers to this.
And I agree that there was so many layers to it. I just think when you're in a situation that you just had to bribe a couple of your own guards and you're trying to get in to rescue someone, screaming at the top of your lungs is pretty much the number one stupid action you can take. And I was like,
normally they tell you not to. In breaking people out of prison school, they do expressly tell you don't do that one.
It's in chapter 1, actually. It's in the
chapter 1 of the textbook.
Of the first book. And it's literally the beginning. Hey, I can't believe we have to say this, but some people don't understand it. Never scream. And then they're like, oh, yes. Okay, I get it. I have to have a sip of water. Agua.
Man, yeah. You go.
Okay. It was also really interesting that as we were traveling into the dungeon, that we were being lore fed so fucking wildly hard. They were like, oh, we're going to run into a dungeon now. We can't talk about that yet because we have to talk about something else first. Now,
what are we
this
talking about?
really impacted you.
Which part? What are we talking about?
The cavalier way in which we eat an entire band of hawks.
It got me. Here's where I'm at. I think had this been done the way I would expect it to be done, where it happened more slowly, there was more bracing for it, they set it up more, it would have not affected me that much because frankly, Rickert is the only character here I care about. And I think the author kind of acknowledges that Rickert is the only person you're going to care about here. Excuse me?
Yeah.
And because of that, expertly decides, hey, what's going to happen here is Rickert's going to be your POV character because he's the only one you care about. You are going to see the pain that happens to him. And you would write off this so quickly if you knew what was going to happen. You would write it off as, okay, the monsters are here. Everybody's about to die. So the only way they were able to do it was by making it as instant and unpreparable as possible. And by having Rickert stumble his way into it with a fall of expectations, where we start with the elf, fairy, demon monster, beautiful moth design. Love this design.
Oh, that's so good.
We see Rickert all excited about it. Hopes are high, feeling good. And then we get to have the immediate crescendo of why are these loose fires? Why is there just loose fires? This is the field. This is where everyone is. Monster, defying expectations, don't understand what's happening. My understanding of reality is broken. I think it didn't hit me nearly as deeply as a lot of the things in Berserk does because none of our main characters are here. But I think similarly to, you can write off an orgy with Slug Dad flashback and be like, yeah, it's an orgy. Sorry. Is that word not allowed? What did we decide to call it? Orange juice.
We decided to call it breakfast eventually because
we decided breakfast because there's orange juice at breakfast.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can write off the breakfast scene as kind of nothing, right? You can be like, yeah, they're having some orange juice. But
that's not how I eat breakfast. I just want to point that out.
They show you a little girl seeing her mom do this when they are in a culture where this is not only a sin, but because she's doing this with a big pagan shrine, this is like an affront to religion. Like this makes her a monster in the eyes of their faith. And that's the way they were able to make you care. I think similarly, if we just said, oh, the Band of the Hawks is dead, we wouldn't care at all. But it was a really smart choice of how to present the information. I think it was done really well.
Because I noticed a couple of things that were interesting here. Remember when I talked before about how whenever he's about to do something really horrible or whenever there's a page that is like such evil shit, he does it in the most beautiful art that he can?
Yes.
Okay, so he did 3 things here. The first thing that he did is he juxtapositioned Rickert on the starry sky with the beautiful elf fairy flying up and had a moment where we had innocent childhood. I'm down by the water, a beautiful fairy elf comes out on top of the water. I have this magical moment while I'm down doing something. And then he makes a full dark sky with the stars in the sky. And he's like, oh my God, I have to go. And then he realizes, shit, this is bad. Like, oh my God, I fell into a childhood moment.
Why is it dark?
I fell into a childhood moment of just thinking this is so cool, but I need to get out of it and warn them I think this is an attack. So we were looking at the stars in the sky and he comes back and he juxtapositions it with the empty fires, which is huge because this goes to the campfire thing where each one of those fires were like stars in the sky that blended into the edge of the things. And each fire represented a dream. And so when we come back to empty fires, they're empty people, but fire still existing. It's like the dreams that they made are still there, but already trampled and falling apart. And all of their dreams are going to be crushed into the ground and put out or destroy a forest. But all of a sudden, all we see is an empty field of dreams. And Rickert stands there for a moment, having just been staring up at the sky. And now he's staring at the stars of the missing people in his life, his world, his universe. His universe is now filled with emptiness. And then a boom! I like how a person is being eaten and they scream out to him, run. Which talk about like that dude. High five to that dude. That is some trying to help a kid out moment. I am literally being snacked in half, and I'm just going to take this moment. And then props to you, Slug Dad. You really do get gross.
Man, this is going to be a 3-hour stream. This continues to be something we need to talk about because I just realized something so crazy here. You brought up the campfire dreams, that there was this idea that everyone brought their dreams together under the glow of Griffith to carry them. And the dreams were small things, but they felt like they could accomplish them in the presence of this great light. And Griffith, we see as now this person who wants the brightest light. He wants the sun itself. He wants to shine brightly. Mm-hmm. And now we see Griffith's coronation procession casually snuffing out every light that is gathered underneath him, smothering them.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I also want to bring up, I predicted that the entire Band of the Hawks would be destroyed as part of the sacrifice. I think I'm like half right because it's not part of the sacrifice. But
when we talked about it, both you and I thought like he was literally going to sacrifice them. And I do have to admit, I'm a little sad that we didn't get to see that.
Yeah, because you can't sacrifice what's been eaten.
Yeah, like it's too late. They took it. It's also, there's two things that goes here for that. Yeah, that's a good point. When one person's light shines the brightest, the others are nothing in comparison. Yeah, exactly, Kev Dog. Because it's like you've got this field of the campfire of dreams, and then when one person overshines it, the other lights are smaller. If you turn the big light on in the house, the small lights no longer have their moment to shine. Oh, literally.
Oh, wait. And if he wants to be the sun, under the light of the sun, a campfire is nothing. It literally feels like it doesn't produce light.
Literally just goes away and doesn't matter. So the thing that I thought was interesting here is he could have given up his entire army, right? And that would have been a really good sacrifice. But then by them taking it, they're also showing them the power that they have, that they're like, okay, if you don't sacrifice Casca or Guts or any of these other people, go ahead and sacrifice Judo, for instance.
Oh my God.
Then if you don't do that, we can just take them. What is saying that you can save them? So you might as well sacrifice them and get the power and the strength and the beauty back of your body and gain a power you've never had before. Because if you don't, look how easy it was for us to literally eat all your people. So what's the point? So it kind of makes a showing to him too. If breaking you in the basement wasn't enough, if your jealousy of Guts wasn't enough, if your watching Guts come out with all that strength when you have nothing left, if the brokenness of your body isn't enough, if the fact that you're never going to meet the potential you feel like you were lived for wasn't enough, just remember, what does it matter anyways? We can literally just off anyone you cared about. So you might as well sacrifice them.
That's beautiful. I like that. I don't know if it would be enough anyways, but it's so much more important that there's no bargaining chip. There's no option that it has to be
Casca alone and you can have my whole army.
Yeah, you can't even begin to. It's sorry. It's her or nothing.
I'll throw Judo in over here.
Oh my God. Yeah, we'll take Judo as a bonus. No, Judo's great. We should be nice to Judo.
But effing Slug Dad, right?
He's terrifying. Can I just say, it's crazy that we find out here that Skull Guy is the previous king. He's basically the Roman emperor. Like, he created the unified continent. And now he's at the biggest downgrade ever. He becomes the head of the God Hand, in theory. That seems to be his place. And his job now is to just show up and say spooky shit to people. That's his position in the world now.
I think he's going to have some more lore around him other than being the old great king who then became a Skeletor.
Can I get into my lore predictions around him that I think is awesome?
Yeah, like that's literally what the show is about.
Yeah, we talked about this a bit in our call, and I've come to think, right? I think each of the God Hand is meant to represent some sort of concept broadly, and I think one of them is conquest. Maybe it's the 4 horsemen plus a friend. I don't know. But if it were the Four Horsemen, one of them would be conquest, order, control. I believe that in great cycles, that member of the God hand is meant to find himself a replacement, that there is meant to be a new conqueror who rises up and is chosen to be the new piece of conquest, that the Skull King was the previous one. We see that the legends here, I think this part's obvious, this doesn't even count as prediction. The legends here are that he was so sinful, angels came to smite him. But since we see the dark mark on all of the skulls in the fallen city, very, very obviously what we're meant to infer happened is that rather he was a great and evil king. He reached a point of evil and demonic power that was enough that he was able to ascend to be part of the God hand. And he chose willingly to sacrifice all of his people and was ascended, not smited. And the city was sacrificed. And it has been translated wrong because angels and gods, demons and gods are all the same thing. They are just greater beings. As Griffith said, that is the entire mythology of this series, very clearly. None of that, the demons are called apostles, right? I forgot that. That makes sense. Yeah. None of that feels like it's worth calling a theory. The theory that, that is interesting. The theory that I find cool, the theory part that I find cool is that this is meant to be some great cycle where the conqueror leads to crowning the next conqueror, that Griffith takes his place in the God hand. He becomes the next great king and sacrifices maybe the city. Maybe he somehow will become king here. Who knows? And he must sacrifice them all. The point is that what I find interesting is that if I'm right about all that, if that's all true, Guts has now made his goal to be like, fuck your great cycle. I'm going to be so strong that I kill it. No more great cycle. Fucking done with it. No more new king. No more God hand. You're not doing it. It's not calling it quits. We're done. Pack it in. And I think that's very fun.
I don't even know. Is that a prediction though? Because don't we know that's what he's trying to do?
We don't know there's like a particular great cycle or anything. The nuances are the prediction part, but I think a lot of it just feels kind of blatant.
I think it feels blatant. Like if he isn't trying to do that, why even?
Oh yeah, I think he was a Griffith for sure. He was a Griffith.
I don't mind. I'll allow it. I think it's a good prediction, but I think that it should also be kind of an obvious area because
some of it's obvious. A lot of it, I think, doesn't even count.
He has to fight against it because otherwise we're not going to see him in the position where he can't even take a nap.
I'm just saying I think there is a great cycle that is meant to occur and that he is against the turning of the wheel, that Guts' enemy isn't just like
Are you saying that this is the
Griffith
wheel of
anymore.
Time and he's going to break it?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, exactly.
Okay.
Medieval Doom guy, that's another way to put it.
Yeah, no, I'm into it. And I would totally agree with you. I have no notes. I just totally agree with you.
Guys, death battle. Guts versus Doom Guy. I'm sorry. Guts, you're strong, but you're losing that fight. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have put you here. I'm sorry, Guts. No.
Doom Guy is the only one I'm scared at. The giant snack is just hilarious. Slug Dad
is scary. We just know he dies.
No, he's just gross. Slug Dad is just gross.
He's scary. What about the weird mantis monster with the arm whose body is a pile of
who's filled? Isn't that mantis monster remind you of the ghost of, is it Christmas Past, who's filled with all the dead and hungry people under his robes?
I have not seen that version. I've only seen the Muppets version, madam, and that that was not part of the Muppet version
the Muppets
of A
didn't
Christmas Carol. That energy, the Muppets weren't bringing it.
So awesome. I love that you just said that. Yeah. Okay. Well, in some other
don't shake your head at the Muppets. Muppets are great. Let the Muppets be.
Oh, that's amazing.
Can I say how unreal it is with all the franchises? With all the franchises that have successfully come back lately, how did the Muppets reboot kind of just not become anything of cultural importance? I feel like they should be in it. I feel like this is an environment where the Muppets would thrive media-wise, or at least maybe not this moment, but I feel like the last 5 years, the Muppets could have been thriving.
Yep.
I think things have gotten too far for the Muppets now. They've missed their window.
In the not Muppet version, the place that everyone gets this from is that originally Dickens had all the souls of the lost and starving were hid under the Ghost of Christmas Past's robes. Kind of reminded me of that in this piece, that his terror and hatred was built out of all the victims. Yeah. All right, here we go.
That's pretty rad.
And then we leave the poor little boy in the middle of the field of fires as all the starlights slowly put themselves out, and he just weeps himself into an oblivion. The end. No more hawks. Ta-da!
We did it. We solved the problem. The problem was too many hawks out here, right? That was it. That was the problem. The story was too many hawks. Oh, we fixed it.
We have too many hawks. We just need 7. Okay, well, we'll leave this guy alive and we'll eat the rest.
Cool. Yeah, we did it.
We did it. Congratulations. High five. Ew. Blech. The people in the basement creep me out in the dungeon. They creep me out big time. So as they're moving down and they find that out, and she gets a piggyback ride, which is the sluttiest way to make it down the stairs, because we've already found that out from the horse riding moment.
Oh my God.
I'm just putting it out there. The truths are the truths, man.
It makes sense because, like, how do you keep Guts' hands free? And also, we don't have to keep up with this tiny, ill-equipped young teenage girl trying to make it down all these stairs. I just realized she's 18 now, huh?
She should be
Happy
18
birthday,
now.
Charlotte. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you've aged out for Griffith. He's not into it.
Oh, no, don't say that.
I don't know what to tell you. He's not into appropriate things.
Oh, no, you can't.
Sorry.
You can't do that.
Sorry. Yeah. Your dad still apparently likes you, which is just fucking horrifying, but okay.
Oh, this is the wrong place to bring it up for sure. But it did remind me of how sweet it was when Griffith, in chapter -1 of this section, said, I never felt that way with you, when she mentioned him hating being touched, which...
oh, yes. Yeah, this is the
I think
wrong
that's
moment
sweet.
to bring that up, though, but yeah,
It
you
is.
are right. That was
Yeah.
sweet.
Look, I meant to bring it up earlier.
Yeah, I meant to bring it up earlier, too. That's funny. You know what? Griffith has a lot in common with some Hollywood stars. They can just only go to a certain age, and then they're like, sorry.
Guys, there's a problem with this drawing, which is it's the first one I've done that doesn't include Griffith, and I don't know if that's okay.
You can just have a little Griffith eye coming out of the sword. See that one spot?
I'm thinking about it.
Like he's
I
fighting
think I'm
on
going to do something
behalf
else.
of Griffith.
I'm going to try to... I think this is going to be a 3-hour one. I think I got time. Let's keep going.
Okay, here we go. Okay. The lore is hot, but he definitely gave up his entire city. That's what he gave up to be Mac Daddy Skeletor, who just...
because the God Hand showed up, it was said to be angels smiting the city.
Do you want to hear something inappropriate?
Was that?
I kind of think he's hot when he's a Skeletor. Like, he's got a really hot look to him.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but online is full of people who are totally okay with you thinking monsters are hot.
Just that one in particular. I don't really usually like monsters, but I think that I think he in particular,
Skeletor guy,
kind of hot, and I don't usually like that kind of dude. Yeah, good bone structure. Oh, Brother Onion, you just gave a great funny. Brooke joke there.
Yeah, that's good.
Who's Sans?
Oh boy, we're not getting into that.
Kev Dog thinks I should be put on to Sans, and I
Sans is a wonderful character who has been ruined by the internet.
Aww. Sorry, character who's been ruined by the internet.
Undertale is a lot like Rick and Morty to me, where boy, I miss when I could like it without thinking about all the everything.
No, I know how you feel. That's kind of like, I don't know, Harry Potter.
And I don't want to put this on you, internet. I don't want to put this on you people, but I have to. You have to change your behavior. I'm genuinely, and I mean this, I'm starting to get that way with The Last Airbender, and you people need to chill the fuck out so I don't start resenting a series that I think is great again. Chill the fuck out. Other things exist. It's fine. Just chill out about The Last Airbender. Just a little bit of chill. Please have an iota of chill about The Last Airbender, internet. I can't do this again. We can't. It survived for like 20 years after running, and you keep making it worse year over year. Just I know they took Harry Potter from you and you needed something to get weird about, but just back off the gas a little bit. All right, there we go. That's all.
Okay, that was a good talk. I really like it when you take the entire internet aside and just have a little talk with them.
Yeah, it's important to have a one-on-one with the internet.
Have a little one-on-one with the webs.
Lav, I need that to be a short thank you.
Okay. The lore was loring. I think it might be time to do a little corking on this. I might have to take out a page and start corking away, because yeah, he gives up the whole city, blah blah blah, but I think we find more information in here, and I think we need to spend a bit more time with it. I love the idea that it was built on top of the city, but that it also obviously is a portal to hell. So there's more to this than meets the eye, because it having an unending bottom, like nobody has ever made it to the bottom. They have never come back anyways. I mean, maybe they're still walking. One never knows. Maybe they found supplies along the way and they've had a whole life and a wife and children.
Maybe there's a civilization down there that started anew in the ruins. We don't know. We haven't checked. I mean,
we don't know for sure that they don't have art and culture and dances. So, but most likely death. Most likely it's death.
I love Casca being clumsy, giving us the lore detail that was like, hey, did you realize that he sacrificed the city? And I was like, yeah, I figured that out like last panel. And it's like, don't worry, Casca dropped the torch to give you 100% confirmation.
Yeah. Thank you, Casca. That was amazing. Oh, look, bodies.
Holy fuck. No.
In Casca's defense, she didn't do that. He did that to her.
Okay. In Casca's defense, she didn't do that at all. The narrative is literally twisting to tell the story. That's the whole point of this section, because we see things like Charlotte being able to do things she doesn't think she should be able to do. We see fate arranging to have everyone brought together just in time for this assault. Of course she dropped the torch to let us know. This is God telling his story, and the story requires us being aware that this was sacrificed.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
Yep.
And then the torch goes, whee! Which means that when we were talking earlier, it's less of a finger on the scale and more of a, oh my God, I almost said that out loud. I'm not saying that out loud, squishies, and you can't make me.
What? Okay, well, they can't make you, so I guess you won't.
No, it's a bad plan. But it's more of something else on the scale. Bigger than a finger.
Oh my God.
Smaller than a hippo.
Well, I don't, okay. All right.
Dead
Let's move
people,
on.
They're dead and they're tattooed. Yeah.
I love when dead people are tattooed.
I made that song for them because, like, they've been through some shit. They deserve a little song. Here was an interesting moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We see them going down.
We love an interesting moment.
Yeah. I hope you do. Because they go down, they're going into the Dungeon of Joy, or as we call it, Castle Basement. And
I love that. I love that. We call it that? I love that for us.
And as they're going into Castle Basement, and a lot of things happen down there.
Cuter.
Well, we did say that we were going to do Berserk the Happy method, and so I just think that sounds better than Dungeon. Casca has takes a mo and stands there and says to herself, Griffith has been in the bottom of this darkness for a whole year. But when he drew her unclothed.
Yes.
And I was like, is he trying to strip her of protection and show how rawly it's hitting her? Because
I think that was meant to be it.
Because he also drew her hair so that there was no edge to her mind. It blends into the background. So I was like, well, I guess he's trying to show how it's taken away all of her protection and she is just fully vulnerable to the hell that has been Griffith's life.
I think that's kind of it. I think it's meant to be vulnerability. And I say that because we know what fan service art of Casca looks like, and it's constant butt shots, which I find strange because I'll be real, Casca is very pretty. She's well drawn. She's beautiful, hot lady. She kind of got no cake, and it always feels weird to have the fan service shots of her ass all the time.
Also, her ass looks like a little boy's bum.
It's
a little boy bum.
like it's not like there's no athletic women who look like that, but most athletic women they got some cake. It's just like
I'm just saying that when I look at it, I'm like, oh, that looks like a sweet little boy who's running away towards the ocean to go play in the waves. I'm just saying that. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, here is why I think that was so important, though.
It's better than Hank Hill, but it's not a lot. Sorry, you go.
Here's why I think it's important that they did that to Casca, and they blended her and made her naked in that moment and really let her dig into her empathy, because it really is foil to us coming back to Griffith, whose empathy is broken and who can never put himself in other people's position, to see how deeply Casca can put herself into somebody else's position and understand. Like it felt like her mind wasn't separate. Her head wasn't separate. It was part of the whole scenario, because it was showing just how much she understood the hell of being in there and started to appreciate and put herself in his shoes. Whereas he is unable to do that. And so I thought I think that was a really important panel, because when I first looked at it, I just kind of read over it and moved on. And then I was like 6 pages forward when I was like, you know what, wait a minute, and went back and looked at it and looked at his choice to draw it so that she has no distinction from her surroundings and she's naked. And I was like, no, I think that this is really actually very important. Blah, 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 blah.
I hadn't noticed that or thought about it myself, but I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Look, I know it depends on what people train. I'm just saying, like, I'm not even saying, oh, it's unrealistic that she doesn't have an ass. I am in no way commenting on that.
Why you focusing on the butt?
Yeah, it's like if your fan service is going to be constantly doing butt shots, it's the meta narrative of, if you're going to draw her butt so often, if you're going to have so many shots where it's like, how you know that someone's talking to Casca is Casca's ass is in the foreground. Why then does she have no ass? That's the question. It's the meta narrative question of, if you're going to focus on it so much, why is it like this?
I think it's a cultural thing, honestly.
You think it's a cultural thing?
I really do.
I was going to say, but then you look at things like Egghead One Piece, and sure, the asses aren't like big, but they're definitely more shapely. But then again, a lot can change in a culture in 30 years.
Yeah. Oh, constipated genius. Did you guys notice that when Griffith wakes up and he looks like he's trying to strangle Guts? Oh, I haven't, but we're about to get there. Okay. When they go in, I like that there's a puddle of light in the middle of the floor. So like the hot spot of a theater when you're on a stage, and yet there's nobody in it. I think that was a really cool choice to make, that he's outside, because it shows that in his current situation, he's not even the star of the show in his own prison. Like a big round puddle of light comes out and he's nowhere in it. He's in the shadow.
Oh.
So he isn't even a main character enough to be in his own light.
You're finding, I will say, I think I'm doing a good job with the writing. You are doing a better job than me, for certain, at finding all of the narrative nuances in the artwork. I've been really impressed by all of those observations.
Oh, and I think we're a team. What we do is we team.
Yeah.
Team.
I mean, we definitely are a team. Just like I'm just appreciating these observations.
I really appreciate that.
Oh.
And he kind of also looks like, because they kept his helmet on him, right? Like, what?
It's almost become, instead of like a military helmet, like a man in the iron mask kind of thing. Like,
exactly.
Like, it's kind of dehumanizing, which he keeps it on when he becomes a demon.
Yeah. Because when you look at him on the ground, he looks alien. He looks like one of the people already that is attacking the world. He's in this mask. It's not off his head. He isn't waving his pretty hair around. He probably doesn't have a lot of hair left from the malnutrition. But he already looks like one of the guys he's about to become.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, that's true, because they're all distortions and exaggerations of the human form, and that's what he is right now. Exactly. He's distorted, he's broken, oh my God, I didn't think about that. That's so cool.
Including his entire spine is outlined and highlighted in individual pieces coming out of his neck.
And you can see
with
ribs
his
and
helmet
sinew
locked onto it because of him being flayed. So like he literally already looks like one of the creatures that he's about to choose to be.
Oh, that's really interesting.
I thought that this whole section here was just. I hate Griffith. Don't get me wrong, and I still was like, "Oh damn, this is some torture."
I just had another thought about the meta-narrative reading of if you see this as the story of a protagonist being acknowledged, had that will to be a protagonist being acknowledged. Common things authors talk about is needing to put their protagonist through suffering to kind of earn their place, and that's exactly what's happening. He can't make this. He won't be ready to make this decision that is needed for him to accomplish his mission unless he suffers. This is the author making him suffer to earn his position.
Oh damn, nice. I also like how protective that Guts becomes. It really shows that whether Guts knows it or not, the two of them are still deeply connected. And so it, for all the anime watchers, I mean, boo for you, boo hoo. For us, it's even more amazing because we already saw Griffith and Guts pairing down in the depths on the edge of hell. So when we see how much they are attached to each other and how both of their narratives are dependent upon each other, they're interconnected in a way that they can't even say out loud. Like, honestly, I think they should couple up sometimes and just like bang it out and then they'd feel better. But it's
the issue is, hear me out about a reading I've had about Mr. Guts Berserk.
I'm never going to get over the fact that we continue to call him Mr. Guts Berserk.
It's very funny. I think Mr. Guts Berserk is sexually straight. I think he might be romantically bi.
I would agree, but I'm also going to say that I have met people before who are gay but fall in love with a woman and end up like marrying that person and being sexually attracted to them because they fall in love with the person. And I think these two are connected much. And we were kind of hinted at that right away in the Griffith washing himself at the well and Guts having a very different level. But I don't think Guts could let himself admit an attraction to a man because of the fact that he was, I can't say grape. I can't. You know what? Beep it out. The fact that he was raped by a man.
But I spoke over, so it doesn't count. Twitch doesn't let us say it. It's not just YouTube. That one is a no-go on Twitch.
Assaulted by a man.
Yeah, there you go. That one's allowed, I think.
Because I think he could never let himself fall in love with Griffith the way that he would want to fall in love with Griffith. And I think Griffith would be a better person if he and Guts were a couple. I think in all actual fact, it would change him as a human.
Look, common polyamory W, everything would be solved by a throuple here. I'm just right. This is a great throuple.
They're not. They wouldn't be bad as long as they got rid of what's his face.
Look, I know things are about to get real bad. I'm talking alternate timeline where things didn't reach this way. Things reaching. I know next chapter, this is not going to look good. I'm already aware. I'm saying if we reach this by another means, let's say we're in a world where the God hand didn't choose, or God didn't choose Griffith for this path. That's the world I'm talking.
Okay.
There's no hope for Griffith in this timeline. We are fully aware. We've mentioned this before.
In my world, I also see it as an alternate timeline where Guts is able to admit his deep love and respect for Griffith, and Griffith is able to admit his deep love for Guts, and they're just like, yeah, and they become better people. And they'll bring Casca in, obviously.
Poly all the way next month.
You know who won't make it?
Jesus Christ.
Do you know
who won't make it?
Who won't make it into this polyamory?
Who's that?
Judo? Starts with a J and it ends with a get the fuck out of here.
I'm gonna be real. Judo has and this is something Lav brought up, and I fully agree. Judo has gay best friend energy.
He really does.
Judo is your gay best friend who recognizes, girl, please. That's the vibe. Now, I'm not saying Judo is gay. You can be straight and have gay best friend energy. And if you're a straight man who's felt friend zoned, I'm sorry, you may have ended up giving gay best friend energy. That might be what happened.
I love Clarith's interpretation of this. That because of his trauma, he can't. Because that's what I feel like. Because of his trauma, he can't admit to his bisexuality. Like he couldn't lean into it. I think, and also
I could see it.
Like, we haven't seen anyone in here having just a normal gay relationship. So that also makes me think that maybe culturally that's a thing as well in this world. Okay. Nothing gave me, this is something I almost picked, but I just thought it was too simple of a drawing. Nothing gave me more like, oh shit.
Yeah.
It's about to get real. Not even eating all the hawks, because sometimes you're hungry and you got to eat a hawk, but nothing gave me more like, oh shit, than when Guts goes over and is holding Griffith and we see the slit of his hawk mask with his eye in a tiny slit just looking up. He's being moved. He doesn't even recognize it. He already said he couldn't feel his body in the other thing. And all of a sudden it's Guts' face and his eye shoots open and his whole pupil is Guts. And the way that he drew that eye, I already felt like Griffith was about to be like, everything in him is focused only on Guts. His eye never gets smaller. It's constantly just staring at Guts. He touches Guts. He's fixed on everything that is Guts. And while Guts is holding him and crying for the loss of humanity and for the pain that he's got in, it feels like Griffith is looking at him like he's being weeped on. Griffith's eyes are covered in Guts' tears, and it feels like Griffith is still looking at him like, how dare you be so beautiful, so alive, so physically strong, so heroic, while I'm this. And it made me feel like we were about to see some shit change, because it was seeing how freaking powerful, how much power Griffith had, and how little power that Guts or how much power that Guts had, and how little power Griffith had, made me feel that Griffith was about to be like, oh no, that can't stay. And so I could see then why Griffith would, and one more reason why Griffith would take the apple.
Yep. Then what do we do? 20 seconds. Oh, real quick. Casca. Casca being seen by Charlotte and Charlotte saying, oh, I didn't recognize you were a woman last time, ties into my theory about dehumanization and how man and woman are identities. They are human identities, because Casca kind of reclaimed her humanity in this section. We see her talking about just living a life and choosing a path other than being a sword. And that is when Charlotte is able to see her. Let's go.
Hi there, YouTube. It's me and Mama Drawk. We are going through the Berserk. We are doing all the One Piece. We are going to do a party piece soon again. We had so much fun last time. Like, that was so much fun last time. Even though it was goddamn D&D. Goddamn D&D with who?
Mr. the King. Tech King.
With Tekking and Drawk, two people who play D&D on the reg.
We gotta reach out to Murph for Honky Tonk, don't we?
But it was so fun. And we're going to be starting to go through One Piece again with our guests. Our special guests are going to choose an area of One Piece that they're particularly feel a connection to, an arc they feel a connection to, and we're going to go through it together and unpack it for its meaning and work through the entire story. I'm so excited about that. We need to find more people, though, who want to do the beginning.
We need to build a schedule. I mean, let's reach out to Murph.
Hard for people, and I freaking love the beginning.
You have that guy you thought could do Romance Dawn, right?
Yeah, I do. And I think he will do it. Yeah. But we need to ask some people for like early times, man, because there's some good shit in early times, especially now that we're seeing what we're seeing. Anyways, we're doing it again. We're moving off. Anyway.
We're moving on.
So thank you. Subscribe, like, rock it out, hang with us. We're going to get rid of all the part where Drawk talks about subscriptions.
Kev Dog knows what's up.
Whatever. Okay. And bye. All right.
Bye. Can I just say that if there's anything great about Kev Dog's choice of name, it's that it's always an instinct to want to just add dog onto someone's name for fun. And having someone who just like invites that energy just makes it fun to say. Just really fun to say.
You know, it was good for me.
If Kev is still here, Kev, do you have an arc that you want to do? We have a couple that have already been claimed, but we're going back through One Piece. And we're going to do conversation with people
named Kev Dog, who was one of the coolest people I ever knew.
Yeah,
really, really good. Think about it, Kev Dog. One of my favorite people of all time was named Kev Dog, and he was like,
"Fuck yeah!"
he was good at like 3 instruments, and he was the guy who was always the one who said the cool things at parties and had a great time. Never made people feel like, oh, it is a variant of you, Kev Dog. That's a lot to live up to, and I'm here for it. So as soon as I saw your name, I was like, that is a perfect name. That is a good person name.
Something that I wanted to say, couple people are asking if we think that Griffith was reaching out to choke Guts or to hug him. Yeah.
Sorry, before we move on from the plug,
we want to talk about Patreon.
We want to talk about Patreon,
right.
And also
we're gonna thank our crew today in the moment. We're so smart. You're right. Mama, I want you to pick a name between 1 and 23. Okay.
Oh, I hope I don't pick the one I usually pick by accident.
I was gonna do it later. I forgot we were doing it in plug time.
No, you're doing that one later.
Okay, never mind. Our special squishy is later. I forgot we agreed to separate them. My brain is bad at plans, guys. We're going to thank the crew. Thank you, crew. Crew, we're going to do a lot of lovely things for you. For one, I'm going to start doing roundtable theory discussions once a month in the near future. I don't know when that's going to be launching, but we're going to have the crew be able to come on a voice chat. We're going to bring back reading out your messages. We made a chat in the Patreon for the crew. So if you you're a member of the crew tier, you can pitch your thoughts and we will make sure to read those. And because honestly, the biggest issue was having them in multiple places. Now that we have one place for it, nice and easy, consistent.
Dr. Jack.
So thank you so much to Dr. Jack, Draco Meme, and Dark A Kudo.
Yeah. Okay.
That's our crew.
All right, let's do this again.
Let's do it again.
I'm trying to find the page and I did find it. I do agree.
Thank you,
does
Lav.
look like he's trying to choke him.
Here's what I think. I think much like what did he intend for Casca and Guts to hear him, one of the great things about him as a character is that at so many points, you can read things he does 2 different ways. And I love that. I love how often you can be like, I don't know which way I'm supposed to read this.
No, that's good writing. But you know, this moment that I asked you to draw, it was having them be locked in, and immediately when they got locked in, I was like, this isn't a big deal. Normally when somebody gets locked in, I'm like, oh no, how are they going to get out? It's going to take forever. In this one, I'm like, oh no, you locked him in with Guts' crazy sword from Crazy Town. I don't know if you know who you're dealing with.
Frankly, I didn't know if I was expecting Guts to cut through it or if I was expecting Pippin to just like casually push it open. Considering we saw Pippin, I know Guts is strong. Pippin literally like just fucking lifting tombstones instead of figuring things out. Pippin is monstrously strong. In what world were they not getting out?
I knew it would be Guts and his sword. I was just like, we're sorting this moment.
Because this section is about Guts' anger, yeah. Thematically, it works better.
But as he kept talking, I did this disgusting thing. I cut his tendons. I flayed his skin. I waited until it healed. We were like a man and wife. I was like, And then I was like, you know what? Keep talking, bruh. You're really bringing the wrath out in a beautiful way. And they did the thing they always do from the bottom, looking up their nose. Anyway.
I think it's great here. Sorry, you go.
I have rarely felt such instant joy as when there's a page before the one I gave you when he smashes through the door and sticks it through his chest. And I was like, oh, can we all just stand up and give a round of applause for this? Can we just say like immediate retribution is such a gift? And when an author is like, I'm not going to make you wait. Why don't we murder him? Why don't we murder him right now?
I love it. There's something beautiful about this moment that I'm just kind of realizing now that like Griffith is to Guts more than anything the man who inspired him to want to be better, the man who inspired him to want to reach better heights when he never thought of himself as worthwhile, as a capable, worthwhile person. And I think it's great that Griffith and Guts probably hate this moment just as much, where Griffith is hating seeing Guts towering above him as this perfect, as the new protagonist, as the person who's been carrying the story, finding himself, who's been in his training arc, who's had his sword broken and repaired.
Having sexual relations with Casca.
Yes. Like, Griffith hates everything about this. Guts also hates it. This is the man who inspires him, who makes him want to be more, who is everything he wants to be, brought low and reduced to nothing by someone he sees as pathetic. And
And also, let's not forget that thing that we talked about earlier, when people are off trying to find themselves and determine who they're meant to be. He's just realized that while he was off trying to find himself, this is what was happening back home to Griffith.
Mm-hmm. And like the idea that both of them despise this moment is kind of great. I love Guts just being more and more stoked, like his rage just boiling over here.
Well, I think it's really important that you define that they both despise this moment, but I also think it's really important to mention that they both despise the moment, but it's the moment that defines who they are in their humanity. Griffith despises the moment because of how little power he has and how much it makes him jealous and hateful. And Guts despises this moment because of what he didn't do to help. He realizes he came here and they were able to rescue Griffith. He came here and they were able to take him out of this hell, and he could have done it earlier. So he blames himself for the pain that Griffith is in. And so it really kind of shows two sides of that coin. Here is Guts and his humanity. Here's Griffith and his humanity.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I am going to cut Griffith some slack in this moment. I don't think I would want anyone to see me that way, but on the other hand, the ability to have that much pride in the state he's in, like, you got to have a strong will of thinking you were born to be the best.
Being able to be offended in this moment, like embarrassed, being able to have anything other than misery is like he is a protagonist in a series that doesn't like protagonists, but he is a protagonist. He has every ounce of will that someone like Luffy or Fuko has.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. I loved seeing him get his tongue cut out. That also wasn't just sweet revenge. It was just like, I mean, I know an eye for an eye and the tooth for a tooth, and we're all toothless, but
yeah, that's how that one went, right?
It's something like that. No, they really say like that was something else that was said later. But anyway, I really liked him saying like, oh, just a minute, just before you die, I want to make sure that I take your tongue, since you thought it was such a great little piece to keep with you. And I really hope that after some things calm down, which apparently they won't, that he gives it to Griffith as a gift on a necklace.
Huh.
I think that would be nice. I mean, it's only fair.
No, we're on the look. You missed us talking about Griffith. I'm sorry. The Griffith thing is too nuanced and there's too much to it to like go back over now. Like we can't redress that, but just know
we hate the shit face, but on the other hand,
you can be pure evil and still suffer. But
yeah, this was wild. This is wild levels of torture. There's torture, and then there's whatever the shit this is.
So I had a conversation recently, and I'm not going to use names because it would be horrible, where I was talking to Lav about someone we knew in high school. And again, I will leave everyone unnamed. And I was like, I think in a lot of ways, being bullied actually is part of why I developed a lot of the social skills I have, because I did not have them, and now I have a lot of them. And there was a girl in my high school who I feel like was in the same boat of like, maybe did deserve to be bullied, just did not deserve to be nearly as bullied as she was. They went way too far. And I feel like this situation is similar to with Griffith, where the man deserves some horrible fucking shit. Just this was a bit more than he deserved. It's retributive. If you've ever seen Midsummer, you're spending a lot of the movie being like, this boyfriend's so shitty, he deserves anything coming to him. And then what was coming to him happens, and you go, actually, he didn't quite deserve anything coming to him. He deserved a lot. He deserved less than he got. And it's like, you can be bad and deserve punishment. Just maybe it doesn't mean you deserve any and all punishment.
I don't think. Did you just say you deserve to be bullied?
No. I mean, I didn't say that explicitly, but I genuinely think it helped me in some ways. I don't think I should have been as bullied as I was. I think that was unnecessary. But I do actually think I've been somewhat helped.
Because there's no room for this. But do you remember when I taught you in grade 11 English and you had a retribution bully moment?
Yeah.
In that circle, when we were talking about other items and unpacking some difficult stuff from World War II, and then you had that person like break down and apologize, and I was just like, this is a movie moment. This is wild.
Yes. I look. some shit happens. I'm not justice should be proportional is a good point. I'm not saying bullying is good. I'm saying that social consequence actually is a teacher.
Interesting.
However,
all right. Well, we'll get that into
the point
in a
stands
time.
That Griffith was dealt
In a time
maybe
you
too
and
much.
I are doing a stream of just rambling, we'll get into it then. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you're going to use what I said as an excuse to bully people, that's insane. What the fuck? No.
I'm going to use this as an excuse to bully people. I'm going to go back to school and be like, hey, my son pointed something out. I'm going to be a bully teacher from now on. I've realized it's really important. Okay.
All right.
Here we go. We're running through a castle. We're cutting off some heads. Some people are shooting us and they all end up dead. Yay! Woo! 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 You're welcome. I wrote that song. It's all that's Guts' theme song as he's running out. Thank you, Aesthetic. As he's running out of the castle basement. That's what he's singing.
Yeah, that's the song.
Yeah. And then he's like, we're being shot with arrows. I'll cut off all their heads. Woo! See, it's just such a good song. It's like, it's a banger.
Okay. I want to take back what I said. The word is not deserved to be bullied. It was, maybe there's a level of it that can be helpful, because if you say deserved, that justifies the action, and I don't think that should be justified. I just think maybe things did work out better for me because I got bullied. That's why it wasn't sitting right with me. Let's continue now.
I love that you moved back into it.
I was just trying to figure out why what I said felt so wrong, despite it being like, no, I do actually believe some of this.
Yes.
Like, it's the word deserve. Deserve is by far the wrong word. That's what the problem was.
You fixed it, but you also ruined how the song.
I ruined your song. Yes, I ruined your song.
Banger. So I got to go back. We're running up the castle. We're cutting off some heads. The people tried to kill me, and now they're the ones that said they are dead. There, we're back.
That was a good song.
Yeah, you know what was good about it?
The
way Guts killed all the people, and then he comes out and they're like, "It's the man that killed 100 people," and he's like, "I can't even hear you." Because I'm in a fugue of death. Once again, he uses human shields. We're always here for a good human shield.
It's really his go-to move when people got bows, huh?
Yes.
It makes sense. I mean, like, why not?
That's one of his go-to moves. His other one is multi-head chop.
Multi-head chop is a great attack. Frankly, I think it's a bit busted in the current meta. Please nerf.
Can we talk? I think we can.
We can. So far, we've proven we're able to.
I also almost chose the moment when Guts is just covered in blood and he's kneeling down like a feral animal ready to pounce. Oof. Oof. I'm going to do Berserk the musical. It's my new thing. There's going to be less sexual assault in it.
In Berserk the musical?
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like you lose a lot of what Berserk is without sexual assault, and that is a rough thing to say.
Quiet is what we're going to do.
Oh, okay, cool. You're gonna Boa Hancock it.
Yes, we are gonna Boa Hancock.
I think to make it work as a musical, actually, that might be necessary.
Yeah, it's going to be Boa Hancocked. And it's going to be the happiest musical, Frostfire. Okay, so when he's down on the ground and he's in a crouched position and he's covered in blood, that's a really important time for him because he's feral. He looks like an animal. He's in a pouncing position. And I think it was really important that the author was trying to say, like, Guts is no longer here. It kind of reminds me of Poltergeist. Like, this person is no longer here. There is only Zool. Oh, no, it's Ghostbusters. I am thinking of Ghostbusters. You need to...
I forgot.
Pet the boy.
Can a mod redeem points for KevDog? My boy is not here. I meant to turn those off for the day. Because daylight savings time killed me, and my girlfriend took boy to park today.
Give back KevDog's points, you stealers.
Please give KevDog his points back.
He knows exactly what I'm talking about. There is no Dana, only Zool. That's this moment.
People, that's like a really famous scene in a really famous movie. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
There is no Guts. Only, you know what? Let's just keep calling him Zool, shall we? Only Zool.
Oh, Zool is... whoa. Or maybe the theory is true that Zod is his dad and there is no Guts, only Zod.
There's no Guts, only Zod. And he moves his ass through the basement in
Zod mode.
Oh, here is why I like him chopping off heads. And I know what you're thinking right now. Is there ever a time for head chopping? Yes.
In real life, yeah, absolutely. Will I express what that is? No, because that would count according to Twitch TOS as inciting violence. So I'm not going to say what I think those times might be.
It's when you are capable of chopping off a head and showing the brain separately leaving the head from the top of the head with a hanging eyeball. If you're an author that can draw that, then you might as well chop some heads off.
Yeah. You might as well.
Dude, it's
pretty brutal.
Level drawing. It's some of the most brutal, because usually when I'm reading like in One Piece or in because I don't know if you heard this, I'm kind of a manga monster now. I've got One Piece, I've got Undead Unluck, and I have some of Berserk. Or as Puck
and you also have Wild Strawberry, you have Witch Hat
Wild Strawberry,
Atelier.
Witch Hat Atelier. That's a good point. And so usually when I'm watching a fighting scene, I'm like, there is a lot of shit happening, and I like to be able to get into details in a picture, and I like to pull things from it. And when this happens, I was like, you can't really see fighting, but he literally managed to create a wild scene where the brain is leaving separately, and then there is a goddamn eyeball hanging off of a piece of head. And I was like, okay, props, man. Like, gross. I feel sick. I can't eat. But
I want to say how fucking dumb this dude is, where he's like, he's come up. Men, don't worry. He's out of breath. Only a fool would be off guard. My guy saying this, only a fool would be off guard in front of his enemy, while he is literally off guard, literally not in a fighting stance, doesn't have his weapon in a defensive position. Like, maybe he could have parried. You know why he couldn't? Fucking weapon wasn't up. He's just standing there. He's just standing there like, only a fool would have his guard. Fucking dumb bitch.
You know, he deserved to have his brain go on a trip without his head.
He did. He deserved that for sure.
I like that Kev Dog is like, I think his stomach it more because of the fantastical tone. I would agree. That is full truth.
I think something here, right? I think he deserved it. If there's anyone who didn't deserve it, and granted, I'm not mad at Guts, you have to get out. I think like guards 3 through 6 who were like, dude, can we surrender? And then didn't have a moment to surrender after Guts killed the guy saying, no, you're not allowed to surrender, and their death. I feel bad for them. I feel bad for them.
First of all, there is no Guts. There is only Zod. And second of all, Casca even tries to be like, Guts! And Guts is like, there is only Zod. But also, dude, anyone you leave behind your back is a potential killer later on. You got to kill those bitches. You don't have a choice.
Whoa, okay.
You got to die. Like, I understand maybe you want to put your sword down right now because you're like, dude is out of control. Zod is coming for me. But no, those bitches got to die. And he does what he's got to do. But there is a moment here when he's cutting off another 3 heads. I was just trying to see where he's cutting. Where we suddenly go back to Griffith, who has a ... coming out of his eyes looking at him. And oh, the jealousy. He sees that Guts is even more than he used to be. He's like, dude is strong, dude is doing his thing. And then he sees this and he's like, you fucker. You are a different level now. I have never hated you more. The power you hold in your body has fueled my anger monkey to a point I can no longer contain it.
There's something interesting to think about here. The idea that, like, the God Hand have spelled their own doom in Guts, that they've let him reach this point. They've raised him to this level. They've given him this path so that he can be the thing that motivates Griffith to take the plunge and become the next member of the God Hand. Yes. And in doing so, they've made someone capable of surviving the sacrifice, someone who can endure against endless demons, someone who is so purely just a weapon that he is able to survive this and still be a man after being sacrificed. There's something very cool about that. Spelling their own doom.
What the shit happened to this king in 2 years? Is he using his
year, dude? It's been a year.
Are you shitting my donkey? It's been a year, and this fucker went from looking like a man
pretty together, yeah.
Yeah, and now he looks like 1,000. Is he using his soul as like juice for people?
1 year aged like Sengoku. No. Guys, Sengoku, we all talk about it just because his hair went white. Otherwise, Sengoku looks basically the same. This man's gone downhill.
Get off Sengoku's back. He was dyeing his hair. He decided it was no longer for him. And he went great. He decided to go au natural, and we're out here on his back, just pulling the man down.
Now, do get on his back for when he killed all those babies. But
yeah, do get on his back for that.
The time he killed all the babies, maybe we can hold that against him. The letting his hair go white, he's retired. Give him a break. Let him eat his crackers.
Oh shit, KevDog is right. He recently watched The Lord of the Rings, and he can only imagine this king is inspired by the King of Rohan's appearance-wise.
But the Lord of the Rings movies came out after this, didn't they? I thought so. Like, it could be the description in the books.
What year is our Lord of the Rings, and what year is this? And also, like, it could have been described. Could have been.
It could have been based off the description still, but that's interesting to think about.
Because this dude could not look.
Read the books. That makes sense. He does look just like the King of Rohan, though. Absolutely.
But this man.
There was also an animated film that came out in 1978.
Let me look this up.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Guys, I'm looking at the animated King of Rohan. No, wait, this is the new anime. I need the old one. Yeah, no, the original guys, he doesn't look like this. He's not all fucked up. He's not all
Did you look only in the one spot? Or
This is the anime. Look at the King of Rohan.
Wouldn't that be part of the story, though? Like, that is a big part of the story that he gets all like...
So I can see it.
No, that's guys, fuck, he looks like him. But he looks like him fucked up.
Okay, I'm just saying, when I tried to search that, the anime King of Rohan came up. Anime King of Rohan kind of hot.
Yeah. I mean, he's
a handsome guy.
He's no muscly skeleton dude, but he's kind of hot.
What you're telling me is that Skeletor.
You know what? Actually, he looks like what the skeleton dude might have looked like with flesh.
I'm just saying. Hey guys, Lord of the Rings anime is looking kind of nice.
Oh, these people are hot.
These are good designs. This is good art. This is a good color palette. What the fuck? Wow. Damn.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Okay, that's a prequel. I mean, it can be a prequel all at once. It still looks good. I'm not a prequel guy though, so probably not gonna like it. But yeah, what you can tell me?
Do you remember that time that I was forced to become addicted to that sweet, sweet pipe?
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
When the person who is without a home did the crack into my face, I think what happened is is hurting his daughter and causing the deepest trauma ever. It was like that sweet, sweet pipe. And that it literally ate away his soul. He's kind of like a picture of Dorian Gray. Now we're just seeing what his soul looks like. It released his soul to the top of his face. And so I think we're just supposed to see that when he sexually assaulted his daughter, that all of his twisted internal disgustingness became the surface of his human. And now it's like a warning to everyone else.
Interesting. I like that a lot. I was feeling that, but I want to go a step further because that implies something that I really like, because this whole section is about the deep tendrils of Griffith's influence, the deep effect Griffith has had on everyone in this story, the way that he is the center of everything despite being completely broken, that he has left an impact on everyone. And that's part of it. He brought out the evil that was lurking in the king. He taunted him and brought out this worst part of him. So I really like that read.
Yeah, I totally think that is the additional part to that 100%.
You assume the king did it before Griffith did, but think about it. Charlotte reacted really violently. Like the way Charlotte reacted, there was surprise and shock. I think he was really like that before, like but I don't think he'd acted on it before.
Loud, and it released it in him, and he was like, "Well, I'm
it felt
act on this now."
My read was that because she seemed to really love her father before that. My read on it was that it kind of was a thing that was there that was tapped into and released by Griffith's taunting.
Yeah.
Yeah, thinking it but never acting on it's how I read it for sure.
Yeah. Like, I think that's what I mean, is because he's been secretly thinking about it and perseverating about it for years, that when he acted upon it, all the rottenness that was inside of his thoughts came to the surface of his face and body.
Interesting.
And you know what I have to say? Summon the Bakaraka! And then take out the king.
So do you think these are just guys, or do you think they're like part demon? Because one of them has frog powers and one of them's way too tall. I don't know.
They didn't seem like just guys, if I'm going to be honest. One of them is so tiny.
One of them, he's got frog powers.
Yeah, one of them is a Froggy Froggerson. Yeah, I don't know. I
think, here's my take. People talk about them all over. People talk about these dudes as though they're this foreign... Dudes? Well, they were talking about these dudes like they're this foreign enemy, this foreign mercenary group. We didn't know they were here. My thinking is that knowing the eclipse was coming, people with demonic powers and influence have been slowly congregating to Midlands to be here for the coronation. That they've been moving their way here bit by bit. And that's why the Black Hounds leader is here. And that's why these guys are here.
That's a good take. Another good take is that this was the first draft of the Ninja Turtle. Aesthetic said that.
Oh my God. They got the power of not being from Europe. Look, guys, I'm just saying, Salit or whatever his name was, also not from Europe, didn't look like this.
No.
That was just a guy. That was a guy with acrobatic powers. These guys are fucked. These are not normal dudes.
But thanks a lot, because now I got the power in my head.
He did have moves, but I think those were just moves. I think he was just a guy. I think he's a guy who was good at martial arts. These guys are fucked. The guy's a frog, guys. The dude's a frog.
And he melts and becomes something else and comes out of the ground. Like, come on.
I've noticed that, Kevdog, I've noticed that in a lot of Japanese media, that there's just like the one person from not Europe, whether it's Japan or whatever, who's cool and special. I'm looking at you, Shamir Fire Emblem. God, Shamir's great. No love, Shamir.
It's not a lie that he's a Kappa. It's not a lie that all the people in the other countries are seemingly aesthetically cooler.
Okay, but hear me out on this. That's because, first of all, they're the people who were like powerful enough to feel like they could move out on their own as mercenaries into other places, which so of course they're going to be a higher grade. And then on top of that, they're the ones who can endure and build a reputation despite being seen as foreigners and probably being less trusted. So by default, the people who are going to cut it as mercenaries in the West, who are from the East, are going to be the best of the best from the East. There's probably, like, in the Berserk world, some knight in plate armor fucking killing it in fantasy India because there people are like, holy shit, have you seen this guy? Like, I have to believe that that's also true, you know?
Maybe. I like that they show all the bodies all laid out everywhere, and then they show Griffith staring with the Griffith eye. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. And then we have the Griffith eye, staring at Guts, and everyone is just looking at Guts, who's leaning on his 9,000-foot sword. And Charlotte goes, he scares me.
If I had a nickel for every time Guts saved a young woman and they were terrified of him, I'd have 2 nickels.
He scares you? What part was it? All the brains flying around?
I mean, she didn't even see all that. She showed up in time to see him slaughter the last few, but also sees him a bit later up the hallway, fucking soaked in blood, leaning on his sword with animal face on. Like, fucking shit.
It does give him an inhuman silhouette as well.
Agree,
also, the best Griffith eye needs to be, because usually authors and artists decide to do the thing and then make a response after it. Same with actors, right? Like you were responding to an event that happened. But in this case, he let us see the Griffith eye, clear, focused, prior to seeing, we see Griffith's look prior to getting to see Casca wiping the blood off of Guts.
I think there's a lot of stuff we see here. The storytelling in Berserk in general is often done in a slightly different order or method than you expect. I think it's cool because it keeps you off your feet. Like, it keeps you a little bit less ready for it. Like, because when a trope comes up, it's presented in different enough of a presentation. Like, it's the same as the prologue focusing on letting us know the darkness within Griffith instead of making the twist. Not showing us the prologue emphasizes the twist. Showing us the prologue emphasizes the darkness.
Yes, exactly. And so I like that he chooses to do that whenever we have a moment where like we see the person viewing it, so we understand the viewing of it is the importance of the viewing of it.
Yes.
He puts it ahead, so we're like, that's the part you should focus on.
I hadn't even considered that a lot of the moments I've talked about today, like Rickert reacting to everyone dying, or Slug Daughter looking at the breakfast scene, we constantly have emphasis being put on observation, on reaction.
Exactly. And so usually in art, they do the reaction second so we can see the thing. But he's like, no, the thing that you need to focus on is the person seeing it.
Doesn't that tie in so well with the idea of criticizing protagonists, where everything in protagonist culture tells you to write active verb or active tense, tells you to write action, not reaction.
Exactly.
And this is
Which is why I think this is such a big deal, because like this goes against everything that you're told to learn and teach.
Well, because this is a story about how focusing on nothing but action and conquest and achieving your goals burns everyone around you. So of course there's this emphasis put on reaction. God damn.
And it's kind of got that amazing quality that so many people try to get, where you should be letting the audience fill in what happens so that it hits them in the worst possible and the best possible way. So there was this idea that you needed to explain everything and unpack everything so the audience had the greatest amount of information, and then that would be the thing that impacted. And then some authors said, no, you're doing it the exact wrong way. Because instead, if you give less information, then the audience is able to come up with their own horror, their own worst scenario, etc. And so you should put the emphasis on taking away some of the action and some of the consequences and some of the speech of what this did to me, so that the audience can create the worst variety in their head.
God, the storytelling is always just so like precise here when it needs to be. Well, obviously there's mistakes. Everything is mistakes, but like
I was trying to remember.
This is not older than protagonist culture.
That first came out
older than protagonist culture.
That first came out from Ernest Hemingway. He was one of those people who used to write with brevity, and he would always tell people, say less and let the audience fill in the information, because it will always hit them emotionally harder. And then Stephen King apparently took that to the next level, and he was like, do less of the jump scares and do more of the audience trying to figure out what it is that's terrifying. They'll fill it in worse than you ever could.
Although I will say this was started right before protagonist culture was first like really heavily criticized in literature, because I just looked it up. Okay, this is crazy. I need to find the exact months here. I need the month on this one, because Berserk's first actual publication outside of testing was 1990. That's the same year that The Hero with 1,000 Faces by Joseph Campbell was published, which means that protagonist culture, the idea of a protagonist being a driving force of a narrative and the thing that everything should focus around, was being observed by other literary critics at the exact moment that Berserk was written. So I don't think it's fair to say this was before protagonist culture, because if protagonist culture wasn't reaching kind of a boiling point, Joseph Campbell wouldn't have been writing this his work when he did. So I think it makes perfect sense that two people made a similar observation, but one positively and one negatively at the same time. Like, that's entirely reasonable. I think saying otherwise is really silly, because then you're saying that then saying Kenny Boy was only capable of making this observation if someone else had laid out the track for him. And when someone is this intellectual with how they write, I don't think that's fair to say.
Kev Dog just said the thing that you and I were talking about.
Older than the name and internet culture, yes.
Yes. Kev Dog just said the thing that you and I had been talking about in the beginning, that concept of how the protagonists react to the antagonist. So he put it in that they're weaving in and out of the actor and reactor concept. And it's interesting because we had been talking earlier about how we felt that even though it was clear that Guts was supposed to be the main character of this that Griffith kept taking over that piece, and that there was a switching moment. But I like seeing it also as, even though one of them is more the main character than the other, they both do still weave in and out of actor-reactor. So I like that, because we were also just talking about how this is kind of like in acting. It's like if we focused on the actor in the stage, looking at the people before we putting the light on them before we put it on the people who are doing the thing. I am also going to do it now. I'm currently putting 2 different plays on in our school, and I can think of a moment that I can use it when I can put a spotlight on the reaction before I bring a light up on the action, and I'm going to use it. I think it's very effective. I think it's going to be cool. Thanks a lot, Berserk. You've given me new...
I was also, I really like the way,
what?
I really like the way I phrased it earlier, where I was just like, the difference feels like it is that Griffith is a protagonist to his core, but Guts is the protagonist. Like, he is the protagonist of this series. And even though archetypally he is less a protagonist than the antagonist is, like, it's really, really interesting.
We're looking at Edward Scissorhands on the ceiling. His legs are long. And they're so strong, and he don't come from this town. He is what we in the business call yucky.
Yeah.
I just thought he was so gross.
He's like,
I felt so bad for him, because I was like, dude, like, you're not repping your people well, because the whole Edward Scissorhand thing, gross. The whole spinny spin off of the roof, gross.
I love the choreography in this whole scene.
100%. Dude melting out of the ground under the private parts of people, gross.
Yep.
It was well done.
Hey, I have a question about him. Do you think whenever this assassin troop shows up in an area without shallow water, Frog Guy just stays on the bleachers for that one?
It's a great question.
Because that seems to be his thing, right?
If I was him, I'd be like, in my contract, I must have a fire hose put down any area I'm going to go if there is no water. That's where I do my best work.
No, this is so fucking good. Hear me out. I think I understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Blow dart guy needs crevices. Any fight where there's no crevices, he's out. Okay? Explosion girl needs a contained area. Swimmy guy, frog guy needs shallow water. Guy with the long legs needs a hallway. So they looked ahead and were like, okay, where are we going to go? This place has our stuff. Now, you may notice girl who covers her face didn't participate in this fight. My theory is she has a different terrain she's good in, and they couldn't find it. She needs like trees. So there is no way they could get like, okay, we can't get a hallway, a contained area, crevices, shallow water, and trees. So you're going to have to sit out this one.
Fine. Isn't she Poison Chick?
I mean, oh, was she the one who did the blow dart? I thought that was a different guy. I might be misremembering.
I know, big poison, like, or was it fire?
I thought there was 2 ladies. There was Explosion Lady, and there was the lady who took Charlotte.
Okay.
Yeah. So my thinking is,
blow dart guy is mid, because like, you can't even shoot the right person. A princess can put her arm in the way. Like, do better.
Yeah.
And also, he just, like, that's what you got? Blow dart? I think I could blow dart. What I'm saying here is my toxic trait is thinking that I'd be a great blow dart guy, and this guy isn't bringing it.
You think you could do blow dart guy better? I will say, Charlotte, there are better ways to stop a blow dart than with your arm.
Yeah.
Like, you're right. Good eyes and reflexes. The fact that she noticed, it might be God's hand pushing her, for sure, but she did get there. But also, that was the wrong defensive. You know what? You have like a quarter of a second to react. I guess that's all you could do.
I'm not going to lie. Sometimes you got to put a princess in danger so you can get her out of danger.
That's true. I mean, it did work to get her out of there.
That's what we did here. Now we have to take the princess away.
I love that right away the guys were like, hey, time out. You don't want her to die, right? Yeah, that would be really bad for us. We'd be in a lot of trouble. We would also be in a lot of trouble. How about we just take a quick break? We'll get back to killing each other. Send the princess to safety. That way, yeah. Because when it works, because when this is over, both of us, we want her to be alive regardless. Cool. Glad we can agree. Get back to killing each other when she's out of the way. Cool. Yeah. All right. Back to it. Like, that's just funny to me. I love it.
I was perplexed at what Griffith was trying to say when the princess was sliding down his body poisoned.
I think he mouthed the words "go."
Just go. Maybe I don't. If you're wondering what's taking place right now, Squishies, I am literally saying the word "go" and trying to make the mouth shapes that Griffith made.
Okay. But he said
it's
it
not
in Japanese.
Going well. So far, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, but he's not speaking English.
Yes, but I'm gonna say maybe.
Maybe. Okay. Actually, he might not be speaking Japanese thinking about it because this is very clearly Europe and this is a world where Asia exists. So, like, maybe he's speaking German. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know if he's German.
I'm not saying he's not German. I'm just saying I think that it was interesting for you to go German.
Realistically, he's probably speaking a fantasy language that just gets translated into other things. Like, he's speaking a language that isn't of our world, is what's actually the case.
Spear dude, or as I call him, Spear
are there
Gorilla?
Japanese signs? Does Berserk have signs in it? You do this. I'm going to look into this.
Okay. Spear Gorilla? Oh, it does. No, it does have Japanese signs. It often shows, like, actions and stuff. He's speaking Midlandian, maybe. I hate the Spear Gorilla, but you know what I really liked about the Spear Gorilla? They gave him a great big huge tummy. Like, when super muscly people get really, really big, their tummy actually goes out. I was really happy for one of the first times
the powerlifter build.
Yeah, that they actually drew him appropriately. Like, they had his belly come out and it's muscle growth.
Yep.
I was like, oh, good for you, Spear Gorilla. Okay, then
I also I think big guys with ranged weapons aren't used enough because, like, you have the giant dudes with a big hammer, but think about how much fucking force a big guy can throw something with, and this series was like, yeah, we'll do that. Big guy throwing giant javelin.
And then Judo gets all like, I got an idea, but there's no time to explain it because I'm Judo. And then he does something, but Pippin was really cool in it. Good for you, Pippin. And that's all I have to say about that moment. We're moving on. They killed effectively. It was really impressive, actually. Their little fight against the Bakura. You know who is hot AF?
Who's that?
Chick who comes down with the thing wrapped around her body and the Pashmina. Who comes down and is like, I'm gonna light this place on fire.
She got a hot vibe.
And I was like, baby, you lit this place on fire the moment you came in here. Like, don't even worry about it. You got this.
I did have a moment of being like, girl, literally, why are you out here at an assassination mission with your tits out? And then I had a realization. Her weapon makes it so that if people react like a half second too late, they will explode to death.
Yep.
So maybe the tits are just there to be like, maybe these will give a half second of hesitation. Maybe if my tits are out, there'll be a half second where, like, a man is looking at me like, are her tits out? Well, oh, fuck! But to give me the moment to blow them up.
Also, it's kind of got that grooving in a cave with a picked kind of thing. She's kind of like blue duding it when you fight naked, and you're like, do you think I'm worried about you? I don't need armor. Like, I'm literally
come at even me. Then, I realize armor doesn't really matter to her because she's never planning on engaging in a close melee fight. Like, she never wants to be in a fight with someone.
You don't want to cook alive in your goddamn thing, and your clothes could burn off. So naked is probably the way to go. Less things catching on fire.
Yeah, look, there's actual justifications for it. It's just I was a little bit like, girl, what?
Yeah, at first I was too, and then I was like, yeah, but if your power is fire, you're like, maybe you don't want a bunch of clothing.
That's your thing. Something I really love in this whole section here, excuse me, The choreography here is great because we see pretty quickly that Judo, Pippin, Casca, and Guts are so good at fighting that they could kill these fuckers in a fair fight like that. It would be nothing to them. But these dudes are so good at creating advantageous situations that they aren't able to even fight back because the dudes are controlling terrain perfectly. So having Judo, Pippin, and even Griffith all participate in creating moments where they are able to fight despite the disadvantages is really good choreography, because like it lets our dudes be as strong as they are while still having them be in danger and needing to find a way out. I think that's brilliant, and it uses the terrain well. If you're choreographing a fight in writing or art or film or anything, and your fight is ambivalent to terrain, that fight could be better. Always consider terrain. They're not fighters or assassins, exactly.
When we leave and he sends the Black Dog Knight, whatever, out after them, and then they are doing the porcifying of many women, and then we see his backpack. I was like, how are we seeing his backpack right now? I thought we weren't allowed to show that. Oh, backpack, because in French it would be sac à dos, and that's what we see. Like in the shadows, you can literally see his sac à dos. And I was like, that's thought more than we were allowed to do in Japanese pieces. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, the limitations feel kind of weird. Like where you're allowed or not allowed to do
with
stuff.
This one, I feel like he really skirted the edge here. Anyway,
I think we can move on. I'm not gonna explain my thoughts on it.
Yeah, this dude is so a dog, and then starts to metamorph back when dude walks in the room. So there's like a bit of changing that takes place, but he's so a dog. And then he's got like this inhuman human quality. They keep talking about how they're not even people. They're feral and da-da-da, which makes me think that they're related to somehow some of the demoning or whatever. And then he turns sideways, and Squishy's, what do we see? What do we see when he turns sideways? Do you know what we see?
Drawk? Nope.
A pointed ear.
Oh, okay. That's cool for him. Good job. Glad you have that.
So he also is now the only the fourth person with a pointed ear in this entire thing, and he is another person. Yeah, it's upsetting when your breakfast.
Granted, we've seen some demons without pointed ears, so it's not every demon.
Yeah, and so once again, points for the ears mean something. We now have another person who is human, not human, or some kind of mixy thing. So far, there's 5 because I forgot about Puck. Sorry, Puck. Who could forget about Puck?
Does Moth Demon have pointed ears?
I don't know, but probably. But I expect all elves do, and all Moth Demon elves do. But yeah, I am more
Moth
convinced
Demon
than ever.
Has ears that it is hard to call pointed.
I'm going to say that it is hard to say that they don't mean anything when it is very specific, and he does a lot of side profiles and highlights them. The hair could have gone over the ear easily. That would have made sense. And yet here it is right out there in this world.
All right.
I got to tell you. I got to tell you something right now.
You got to do it. You got to tell me. We're going to go over 3 hours. So well.
I am so scared of the next section of this story. I can't even. I got
to tell you something right now.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to read ahead. I'm going to try to read a bit tonight. And I will tell you what I need to for spoilers so that you are prepared. We have never had people tell us that that you should get spoilers. No one has ever said that before.
No, everyone is like, never spoil mama. Blah!
I mean, the new demon having a dick kind of makes, it's not like they can't. We've never said they can't. But I don't know.
I think
I do want to think about it. Unironically, I want to think about the fact that he canonically has a dick.
Yeah. I do want to think
about because I do think dehumanization is a part of this, but it does seem like he is dehumanization just in the form of a bestial sexuality instead of a human sexuality. It's very different.
It feels more like the way that Guts feels, like he's a person in the world doing some person-y things. He just happens to have something going on.
Mm-hmm.
Griffith as well.
He's like partially demon. It's kind of like Zod. This might be his human form. Minute.
Maybe we keep meeting Zod in really cold times.
What?
Yeah, and it's not his fault that his penis crawls inside him. It's very cold for him. He's used to hell. Hell is very hot. He comes out into the regular Earth, and it's like, that might as well be Antarctica for him. So his penis just disappears. It crawls inside of him to stay warm. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
Top 5?
Dude, joke. You went so silent that I was like, what is this dude's business?
Were you watching the stream? Because my head was in my hands the entire time.
I'm telling you, it's an excellent joke.
My head was in my hands the entire time. That's why I went silent.
Oh, it was so good. It's like a dad joke if a dad joke was explicit and stupid. No, stupid is a dad joke. Explicit and no, it's like an explicit dad joke.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, we ready? You get to start the top 5.
Oh, do I?
This is important because I don't know who voted on what, but we get to. Well, you don't have to start with number 1. We don't usually.
We don't put Guts in though, right? We still are tiering.
No, Guts has his own. Guts has his own world.
Yeah, Guts has his own world. My number 1 person, if we are tiering Guts.
We can tier Guts first and then do number 1.
Maybe not the spoilers, but like a heads up, it's definitely recommended for how gory it's going to be. We're just talking about the next section, KevDog. I'm kind of nervous about how bad it is.
We asked our fans early on. The reason this is called the last Momzerk stream is because there's a chance my mom will just not go through with it. Some people apparently drop it here, and we don't know. So I'm going to be reading ahead. Chat suggested I should. They were like, "Yeah, you should definitely read ahead and give some warnings."
Like, definitely spoil Mama, which has never happened before.
No one has ever said that. No one has ever suggested that before this.
Yeah, that's concerning. Okay. It's not a hurdle. It's a cliff. Jesus, KevDog.
I love how KevDog was like, yeah, you can, maybe some heads up. It's a cliff.
I like how every single person, when we're like, I'm really worried.
No one has made it easier feeling.
Everyone's like, it's worse than you think.
Can we talk about how crazy it is that, like, when people are coming up to Marineford, everybody's like, nobody tell them anything. We want this to hurt as much as possible. And this is bad enough that all the same people are like, you should get some warning.
Jesus God.
It's going to be so
Okay, here we go. Deja vu. The person I am going to put at the very top of the list today is Casca.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah, it's Casca. I debated. I want to, if I got it in my court, I want to tell you some things that I considered, okay? I considered Charlotte because her betrayal of her dad is why we got this far and very important to the series.
Okay.
I even briefly considered Rickert. I briefly considered Griffith because Griffith, I think, is so integral to this part because it's amazing how much he can do with so little presence and so little ability to act.
Are you putting him at
I think
number
it
2?
really shows the weight. No, I am putting Judo, and it's not actually just to bug you. Let me explain for the people who don't hate Judo.
You're making Judo number 2?
Let me explain why. This isn't about you. Let me explain why. I've come to realize that Judo is a character who recognizes emotional weight better than basically anyone. Whenever someone is struggling with someone and acting emotionally, without telling them, hey, you're being emotional, he gives space for someone to step out and for him to take over. When Judo has a solution, Judo just provides it. He is a perfect support character. He shows up, he helps. And the moment that sold it for me, I was like, he's like a number 4. The moment that sold it was in the final bit of choreography where Judo notices the sparks, then throws a knife, notices sparks again, creates sparks, sees where the guy is, and kills him, gets Pippin to prepare, times it perfectly, knowing the timing of their attacks, and lets everybody else fight. He's not the best fighter, but he's so good at what he does and acts so perfectly as the guy who just lets everyone else be their best. He finds the exact moment that every other character can act and creates it.
Can I just say retribution for Charlotte? Judo has one fucking moment in this entire fight where he does anything of value, and it's that moment. And just recognizing that he does things is whatever. Like, yeah, are you maybe right about who he is? Sure, but that's over a long breadth of time, not in this
He
particular
also
area.
recognizes that Casca and Guts are about to have an emotional conversation because Guts is letting his feelings for Casca cloud things and is like, we can't separate our strongest fighters. Too bad.
You know
we're
how
going.
I feel about Charlotte, and let me tell you, that chick should have been number 2.
I love
She's
Charlotte.
The only reason we get into the castle. She doesn't just go against her disgusting king father. She tells him how to get in there. She clears space and she makes it possible. She leads them through. Ugh.
Can I tell you that I was going to put her number 2 if she hadn't screamed? And then I was like, the scream. Look, I agree. I said it myself that tactically, if your idea is you feel like you need to come along, it's the best thing you could do. The scream is why she's not number 2 for me. That's why.
Even with the scream, I still think that little trumpet should have been number 2. She is.
All right.
She did so much. So I'm going to make her number 3 because she was robbed. I was robbed, says Charlotte. You were, Charlotte. You suck, but you were robbed.
Charlotte number 2. Can we just say Pippin number 4? Nice and easy. We're going in order today.
Pippin should be number 4.
Pippin did great. Good job, Pippin. I don't know. I love Pippin in this section. He's such a small presence, outside of Spies, but he's so good.
Think Pippin rocks. He's my favorite character.
I also, because you're not going to pick him, honorable mention to Rickard. You did your best, buddy.
You don't know that I'm not going to pick Rickard.
All right, go for it. Go ahead and don't pick Griffith.
I'm going to pick. Oh yeah, it's got to be Griffith. In fact, Griffith should have been higher. In fact,
I want Pippin to be above Griffith this one time.
Ew. You know what? Yeah, we'll pick Griffith here. But can we just admit that that's wrong? Because Griffith gave.
We can change it. We can.
If
we can put Pippin below Griffith. I think we switch them. Yeah.
Griffith did more for the story with an eyeball than anyone else did with their whole freaking chest.
Yeah, all right, switch them. Charlotte one eye. 3, Griffith number 4, Pippin number 5.
Yes.
Honorable mention to Rickard.
Yes.
Sorry, Raph's Revenge, we took it back.
Like, woo! Yeah,
Top 5, we take those. The Pippin fans are eating tonight.
Pippin rocks.
I love Pippin. It's just, you're right. Griffith manages to be a compelling character when he's an eyeball.
Eyeball!
He's one of the best written
antagonists.
He's so well written. It's crazy, guys. Like, I know we talk shit because he's evil. He's such a good character.
Oh, he does this character well. This character
is so good.
Now that I'm writing a TV show for our school, I can tell you there are 2 characters that I could write shit for them all day. I don't even have to think about it. But I have to, this is like a basketball team. Everybody's got to say something. So I have to stop that. But there's some characters, I think, that as an author, you're just like, I just want to write this character all the time. I nailed this character. And I bet you that's how he felt about Griffith. He was like,
I imagine Griffith is such an interesting, compelling, unique character. And I think so much of it comes from what if it was bad to be a protagonist, and it makes him so interesting. But it's not like just that idea is enough. You have to be a good writer to pull that off nearly as well as he's done.
Yes. No, he loves this fucking character. Yes, Kev Doggett, thanks. Because I really agree. I think he had to stop himself from writing more. And when I see him just giving face and his eye alone is enough to fucking hold a plot together, I'm like, goddamn, you've written a character when you could just have them give eyeball and all of us are like, ooh.
It felt like this entire section, every single moment was showing us Griffith's impact on other people. Griffith's impact on Charlotte, Griffith's impact on the king, Griffith's impact on Casca, on Guts. The fact that everyone thinks they are the most impacted, that they are the one who has this deep tie. And Guts is the only one who's right, it feels like, because that's what Griffith is thinking about, but he's only thinking about it because it's the one person he couldn't understand and expect and predict, the one person who wasn't the player he thought he would be, the one person who put him off his game. This series is so well written.
It is so well written.
Just remember, this is only the prologue flashback. That is weird to think about, that the prologue is not the prologue is the main story and that this is all prologue.
Yeah, when he put that up there, I was sitting there. Just remember, this is all, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Right, this is all prologue flashback. Like we know, and
there's
we
a whole
talk about it all the time. And we talk all the time about what Guts is going through in the future, but sometimes rehearing that it's a prologue flashback to Berserk actually hits different.
I felt the same way. I was just now like, what the fuck, right? Yeah, we're going back at some point.
Like, that's wild to actually think out loud. God damn this story. Okay, I hope I can move through this next shit, because the story is compelling, the story is great, but
it's just also horrible.
And we are trying to do Berserk, the happy mode.
I think so much of the happiness we've found has been the happiness of, God, this sure is cool.
That's not where you think your happiness is going to come from.
No, but like, we take it where you get it.
Okay, so it says Berserk readers are called strugglers, but specifically only those who read this next section and choose.
Really? This is where we earn the title of struggler, huh?
Oh my God.
So if you don't make it through, you're not even a struggler. Wow.
Oh.
That's kind of cool, though. That means we get to be strugglers next time.
Okay.
We had to join the club. I keep changing the shape of this because it's just too messy to read well.
Who's the funny glasses demon that KevDog is talking about?
Oh, I don't remember. Oh no.
Who's
you heard
the funny glasses?
Muir based Griffith off his IRL friend. I hope not.
What? Oh my God, that's terrible.
Imagine being Griffith.
Was it Stazzy Boy who forced me to read this?
Well, okay, so you can blame two people. Stazzy Boy came on the stream and pitched the Campfire of Dreams, which, to be fair, was just as beautiful as Stazzy Boy said it was.
It's not a lie. It was Stazzy Boy. I knew it was Stazzy Boy who came online.
The other person you can blame is legit Hawaiian for sending you the black books, because then you felt compelled.
You use the word blame when literally legit Hawaiian sent me those books.
They're so beautiful. They're so fucking beautiful.
They are so pretty. I'm not blaming nobody for sending that. There's a new poll to see if the next section will break my heart and soul. Shit drop.
Oh God.
Okay, I'm gonna look this up because KevDog said he's from the Black Swordsman arc, and I will say no more. So definitely that shit's going into my notes.
Oh, I gotta stretch. Oh. I am. If other people are calling him Kenny Boy, that's funny. I did it. I broke us. I broke the community.
You broke the community.
My inability to pronounce Mura has broken us. Mura.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We do our favorite monsters. There's a lot of monsters.
You know why that's such good news? Because I don't know if you've heard it. There is one sexy monster in this part.
Is it Skeleton?
Skeletor, man. He's bringing it on all barrels.
The issue is, if you take Skeletor, I gotta still be me. I gotta do what I do every time and the girl one. I like the girl one, okay? The moth is cool. It's gonna keep happening.
Oh, gee, everyone, Drawk picks a girl who's inappropriate to like.
Hear me out on this, right?
Who had that on their bingo card? Everyone.
The issue is, I have a bias towards women when it comes to characters in general. That's not going to change when there's monsters.
Okay, but you've got issues. Then again, I can't say anything this time because I picked a dude not because he was cool, but because he was hot.
Sexy Skeletor is your monster of the week. No. Here's the thing, actually. The thing about Moth Lady, I don't actually think Moth Lady is sexy. That I was just making the bit because I keep doing it. Moth Lady, I don't think is sexy. I think Moth Lady is just a cool fucking design. That cover with Moth Lady flying over the moon, Lav showed it to me when they were reading ahead and was like, oh my God, look at this. And I was like, oh my God, holy fuck. I genuinely think it's just a really good design. The mantis that seems to be based off of an assassin bug that collects all the bodies is close, but it just doesn't hit, you know? Like,
I'm not going to lie to you. I think in the next thing that Moth Lady is going to do some hurting of some people because people are
either hurting of people. No. There's two options. The way people are reacting is two things. Either it's going to do some hurting of some people, or it's going to turn out to be underaged. The way people are acting could be either of those things.
Yeah. It could.
Either way, I don't think the moth is sexy. I just think the moth has a really cool design.
Yeah. But I'm worried for you now. I'm worried you did another one of those like people we shouldn't like.
God Hand Snake Lady is sexy. I'll give that to her. She gets it.
She gets it?
Yeah.
Okay, did we have other things we do this though?
Lav hates when we do favorite minor character.
Oh, right. We do favorite minor character.
Well, we don't, and Lav hates that we do it, and it'll get edited out, but it's funny.
It's the joy. It's joy. Joy or pain.
Favorite minor characters, Anna the maid.
Joy or pain.
Your favorite characters? You know what? That was my favorite character. I love that chick. She was
cool.
So freaking sparky.
All right, let's move on to joy or pain. What was your source of greatest joy? I think it might be what I'm drawing right now.
Yeah, that is my greatest joy. When he bursts through and he attacks Torture Bitch Dude and takes him out. That was my very, very favorite joyous moment.
I think my greatest joy was the moment where Guts says to Judo, yeah, it's dark this time, so Charlotte mistook Casca for a woman, and then Casca hits him in the face with the lantern. I think it was really funny. I think it's cute. I loved it.
Okay. And that gave you joy.
It made me laugh. I loved it. It was really funny.
Okay. What gave you
that's another one Lab showed me when they were reading ahead, and I was like, that's so cute. Fucking love that.
Hey, what gave you pain?
The description of Griffith's torture, whether or not I think he's evil, it fucking killed me. Holy fuck.
That was wild. I didn't expect to be like, oh no, poor Griffith. And yet here we were. I think what gave me pain though was seeing what it did to Guts. Like, I think it gave me pain, but the real pain for me was Guts' reaction to
I think that's fair.
And less about Griffith's reaction and more Guts' reaction to his trauma. It's 90%. Will the next section break Mama's heart and soul? 90% said yes.
All right, guys, if we don't come back, if we cannot do another Berserk, if we come back and say, Mama says I can't do it, I will gift 5 subs to the community. That is my oath. I will say, here are your apology subs. If we do keep going, then we'll just keep going. You guys can wager with me if you want, like we did for the reading ahead thing. But yeah, we'll just have to do Hunter x Hunter then. Yeah, Hunter x Hunter's all sunshine and rainbows until, until oh, it's not.
Oh my God. I will also gift 5 subs then.
If you don't make it, okay. You guys get 10 subs if we don't. Hunter x Hunter starts so lighthearted to end up where it currently is. I'm happy he's looking after his health, but I wish that the manga community people were better at delegating so that he could just have someone else help with the art and just do storyboarding, because I want more Hunter x Hunter, but I don't want him to overwork himself. Like, no. Hunter x Hunter is not nearly as... Are you caught up on the manga? Because I think to the extent he's able to get away with in the publications he does, current Hunter x Hunter is really fucked up. It's pretty brutal.
Okay, well, I don't... Do you remember when you went off and said that I needed to read Hunter x Hunter?
Yeah.
I think less want to now.
I think you'll love it.
Oh, God. I'll also hate it, remember?
Yes, you will.
Oh, God. All right.
Yeah, current Hunter, keep reading at the boat. The boat is good. We're eating good on the boat. All right, I think that's it. That's our closing segments, right? Wait, we have to thank a random patron. You ready?
Reading.
Pick a number 1 to 23.
Number 8.
These are our special squishies. Number 8. This is so appropriate and such a good name. You're gonna love saying it. I'm gonna send it to you, and you can thank it because it's such a fun.
Where are you sending it to me?
I'm sending my headphones are about to die, by the way, so we got to stop quick after this. I'm sending it to you on Discord.
Okay.
Ready?
I'm going to the Discord.
The boat's good. The boat's good in Hunter x Hunter. It's a good boat. We're thanking a patron. You guys ready? You guys ready to be thanked?
Discord did you say?
Literally a direct message.
Oh my god, that's crazy!
Yeah, right? That's the one you picked.
Today we are thanking the gelatin skeleton.
Did you just pronounce gelatin gelatin?
I'm not saying gelatin. I don't like it.
Gelatin rhymes.
Skeleton. I don't like gelatin.
What? But it
gelatin
rhymes.
Skeleton rhymes, and that's why they picked it, and I appreciate it. But gelatinous is a better word.
Gelatin is a better word, but it's not gelatinous.
So I'm going to say gelatin skeleton.
I'm going to say it correctly. Thank you, gelatin skeleton. That's so fun to say. How can you turn it down?
Also, can I just tell you, if it's a gelatin skeleton, then it can't be hot like the other skeleton because it's
This is not hot. This is a different
skeleton. Gelatin. Yeah, no.
This is a less sexy skeleton than the king.
Gelatin skeletons are hot as hell.
No. Thank you, Gelatin Skeleton, for subscribing at the squishy tier. If you want to be thanked on a stream, you can join the crew tier, which has a limited number of slots. Or if you're a special squishy, you have a chance to be thanked every screen. Every screen has a chance to thank you.
Race Revenge did say they might be cuter if they're gelatinous, though. So that's a true story.
Right. We ready to go?
Yeah, this Paladin Berserker says that Nicholas is reacting to the start of Wano Part 3, so that's a nice place to send to raid.
Yeah. How do I spell this?
Where are we
reading to next? That's important.
Reading
Let's
to
find out.
next.
I'm going to start the raid
jelly.
process. Skeleton jelly. What's happening?
What does it say?
That's
crazy.
3 different places.
Guys, we're reading to Eclipse. Ooh, that's spooky. Eclipse end of chapter 73. That's some more chapters than we've had in a while. We've been reading very short sections. I'm excited to get some more chapters this time. I wanna slurp them up. I want to slurp more chapters. All right, everybody. We're reading chapter 73, and we're gonna raid Nicholas TTV. Nicholas Light TTV.
Oh, look what everyone is saying. Oh, we're doomed. We're doomed.
Team, we'll see you on the other side. And until next time,
squish on squishies. I've been pain-free.
Pain-free, I think, is yours here. You've been pain-free? I've been painkiller. And then you do.
Squish on squishies.
It's been lovely talking to you. Thank you guys so much for being here. Hopefully it's not the last time. We'll see next time. It'll be the start of a new manga. We'll be reading something else. If we'll just be out of nowhere, the reading Kaiju number 8 if we don't continue or something. Bye, everybody.